Chapter 6401. 1,000,000 times the level of life can crush Daojun. If it is 10,000,000 times, I am afraid that the emperor will kneel down. Of course, the owner of the face couldn't be the ancient demon. The ancient demon is 5,000 times stronger. And if it can be increased to 10,000 times later, it is already the limit of the ancient world. And this face is all special life, or the origin of all life. Beast. The face is the face of a world beast. In this world, or the entire realm god continent, only Jian Wushuang can transform into a realm beast. The owner of the face was changed by Jian Wushuang. Seeing that everyone was so frightened that they were trembling all over, and couldn't even climb up, Jian Wushuang felt that it was meaningless. So he became the deity again. The first ones who were surprised were not the people in the ancient demon palace, but a few people from the 9 prison tower. Jian Wushuang, who are you? Why can't I feel your life in your state just now? Jiao Chen's eyes were full of shock. Jian Wushuang's life level suddenly increased from 10,000 times to 100,000 times, and he almost knelt down on the spot. But the breath of life suddenly disappeared later. Xiang Yang thought it was normal, and sneered at Jiao Chen. Old man, haven't you experienced 9 worlds? Can you tell me what realm Brother Wushuang is in? If Brother Wushuang didn't block this place just now, I'm afraid you would also kneel now. Among the 3, only he had seen Jian Wushuang back then. Although it is only a clone, it has the combat power of the 7-star cosmic god. People in the indigenous world will never understand how powerful a strong person at that level is. Jiao Chen was also stumped for a while, and he didn't bother to pay attention to Xiang Yang, so he kept silent. Jiang and I was even more curious about Jian Wushuang's identity. Ancient Demon Palace. Jian Wushuang ignored the people in the 9 prison tower, but looked at Old Man Tianqin and Fairy Ziyu. When he appeared, the first person who was surprised was Fairy Ziyu. At this moment, she opened her mouth, and before she could ask her doubts, the pressure on her body disappeared, and she breathed a sigh of relief. That sense of oppression is much more terrifying than Daojun. Facing Daojun, she felt that she was facing a hot star, and she had no power to resist. But facing Jian Wushuang, she was more like facing her master directly, with a natural sense of identity. If Jian Wushuang had asked her to die just now, she might not have hesitated. Fairy Ziyu, we meet again. Jian Wushuang smiled lightly. Fairy Ziyu didn't dare to hold her up, and quickly bowed and said, "The little girl was ignorant before. Please don't blame me, senior. Don't call me senior, because I'm really just an ordinary monk in the Mahayana period. And I don't even have the power of immortality. You are all my seniors." Jian Wushuang waved his hand, and directly removed everyone's oppression sense. After the Tianqin old man regained his composure, he first looked at Jian Wushuang in horror, then quickly knelt down and said, "Senior, please help me. For the sake of our previous work, please take me out of the double-faced palace." Naturally, Jian Wushuang nodded, because the other party mentioned the powerhouse from another world earlier. He just wanted to know about other big worlds. It was too easy for him to take an immortal out. Seeing that he agreed, the old man Tianqin kowtowed his head like pounding garlic, and kept thanking Jian Wushuang. It's just that he doesn't know that he will enter the next reincarnation, and it may not be better than following the double-faced Buddha. After Jian Wushuang dismissed the first 2 people, he looked at Yunhai Dharma Protector and said, "You 2 Dharma Protectors, do you have anything to say?" "Ah." Guardian Yunhai bowed his head first, and said respectfully, "Senior, if you have anything to ask, just ask. I will definitely cooperate." Jian Wushuang nodded and said, "That's good. Let's talk about the fight between the strong from another world and your double-faced palace master." Protector Yunhai naturally didn't expect him to ask this. But after thinking about it, it seems reasonable. Jian Wushuang disguised his identity and entered the double-faced god's mansion, probably to inquire about this matter. Now facing Jian Wushuang, a super strong man who is more pressured than the palace master. Naturally he will not be stubborn, and immediately put them all out. It turned out that 300 years ago, the double-faced Buddha fought against the mysterious monk in the void of chaos, and returned home with serious injuries. After returning, most people thought it was Yang Dingtian who did it, so no one dared to reveal it. Only a small number of people know that it is actually because of the strong people from other worlds. As for why to fight, only Yunhai Guardian knows, because he was there at the beginning of the battle. Looking back at the scene at that time now, he couldn't help but make him shudder. Because that strong man from another world was driving a spaceship. It has surpassed the value of the treasure. And it is a treasure among the treasures of the universe. Driving this kind of flying boat is 1,000 times faster than ordinary emperors. Especially when traveling through chaos. The speed is even faster, and can reach 10,000 times, or even 100,000 times the level. It all depends on what the fuel is. If it is the divine power of the emperor, the speed can be compared to the robbery. If it is the power of immortality, the speed can only be compared to the top powerhouse among the emperors. But its protective ability is too strong. After all, it is comparable to the treasure of the universe. In terms of value, it is also at the level of the treasure of the universe. For such a precious treasure, the strength of the owner is naturally extraordinary. However, the strong man in the spaceship was seriously injured and lost his divine body, leaving only a physical body and a broken consciousness. The double-faced Buddha wanted to fight, so he did it directly. But he still had a small spaceship, and the passive defense alone seriously injured him. But he could also feel that the energy inside the flying boat was almost exhausted. So he wanted to follow behind and wait for the power of the flying boat to be exhausted before leaving. It's just that the flying boat has been approaching the ancient world. He was worried that the emperor in the ancient world would find out. So he went forward and deliberately attacked the spaceship, causing the flying boat to change its direction and continue to fly towards the chaos. The double-faced Buddha was also seriously injured again because of the passive defense of the flying boat, which made it difficult for him to survive in the chaos. After returning to the base camp, he immediately recovered his strength, recovered 80% of his combat power at all costs, and set off for the chaotic void again. But the flying boat could no longer be found. He still didn't give up. After searching for decades, he retreated voluntarily for some reason. According to what Guardian Yunhai said, even he didn't know about it. No more. Jian Wushuang raised his eyebrows and said. Protector Yunhai nodded quickly and said, Senior, everything I said is true. When the palace master was not found, he began to retreat and couldn't get out. I haven't been out of the double-faced palace for 300 years. Tiancan, it's your turn. Seeing that the other party really didn't know, he threw the question to the disabled old man. This guy claimed to know the hiding place of the strong man from another world, but after listening to the words of Guardian Yunhai, he felt that it was not that simple. For 300 years, the double-faced Buddha did not go out, nor did he go to the chaotic void to find spaceships. Chapter 6402. There must be something wrong with it. Now it depends on what Tiancan said. If he and the double-faced Buddha met the same strong man from another world, he might still be able to pick up the leak. The treasures in the ancient world are of some use to Jiuchun, Xiangyang, and Jiang and I, but they are of little use to him. What he lacks now is epiphany. If you want to find a new original route, you need an epiphany. But the world of Guyu was too small, and there was no chance for him to have an epiphany, or a chance. This universe is huge, and he needs to explore it step by step and keep walking. Just like in the Red-Eye world. To go towards the center. Take a look at practitioners from all over the world, and take a look at the wonders of the universe. Or some special treasures. For example, treasures such as the 9 prison tower, and ashpot that are of great use to him. In the ancient world, it can be said that his receiving the goods this time is a top-notch opportunity, but unfortunately it is just an auxiliary treasure for enlightenment. It is of some use to the immortal and even the emperor, but to him it is useless even if it is smashed into powder and made into tea. So it was directly thrown to Jiang and I and Jiuchun, who needed it more. As for the rest that are useful to the physical body and the source, he naturally kept them for himself. Although the new origin has not yet been developed, the origin of Kendo and the origin of Gakudo also need to be maintained. This is what he relies on now. Apart from the physical body, there are only 2 major sources left. It helps, but it's minimal. Now it's up to Tiancan to explain. He was a fool at first, but now he heard his question, and said happily, "Returning to the senior, the strong man from another world I met was in the void of chaos, but I didn't see the existence of the flying boat." As soon as these words came out, Jian Wushuang understood. There is a high probability that the treasure has fallen into the hands of the double-faced Buddha, but this guy is more cautious, and no one said anything. There is just one thing that he doesn't understand, why the guardian of Yunhai knew about it, and he was not too loyal, and he put it all away as soon as he opened his mouth, and the double-faced Buddha would keep him? Seeing his curious eyes, Guardian Yunhai understood, and immediately explained, "I am actually the brother-in-law of the mansion master, so the mansion master did not clean me up, but the rest are dead." This time Jian Wushuang nodded in satisfaction. After asking what you want to know, it's time to do it. Just when he was about to let Guardian Yunhai and others lead the way, a strong wave suddenly came from afar. Everyone present can feel this fluctuation. No, Yang Dingtian is calling. Feeling that strong aura, the Cloud Sea Protector and the Chiefing Protector are very familiar with each other. Patriarch Xuehe was a little surprised and said, "It shouldn't be. Although Yang Dingtian protects his weaknesses, he hasn't been so foolish. Don't worry about this. Don't you know if we go and have a look together?" Jian Wushuang spread his hands, a light gate appeared, and then turned to Fairy Ziyu and said, "Fellow Ziyu, please feel wronged first." "Already?" Fairy Ziyu was flattered and said, "Senior, you are serious." Swish! Her figure flashed and entered the light gate. The other end is naturally the 9 prison tower. The old man Tiankin opened his mouth, but in fact he also wanted to go in. He just shook out all his whole cards and lost that qualification. Actually not. Jian Wushuang just thought that Fairy Ziyu had once rescued him, a Mahayana cultivator, and could give him some benefits, such as rubbing the deep-sea legacy. As for the old man with the disability, he is just a fool and his strength is not enough. So if he tells him everything now, it will be of no use. But it's not enough to kill people to silence them. After erasing the other party's memory about the strong man from another world, he was thrown into the ancient magic palace. There are materials worth hundreds of millions of immortal crystals on the ground, so it's not a bad treatment for him. Looking at the backs of Jian Wushuang and the others, the old man with a confused memory shouted, "Thank you, senior, let's go." After sending everyone away, the old man Tiankin began to dig out the materials on the ground, because without the control of the formation, it was simply a waste of time. It's just that he didn't understand a little bit. Why did Jian Wushuang give him such a big benefit? And throw him here alone? This time the ancient magic palace. The rewards for surviving are great. Of course, except for those powerhouses in the double-faced divine palace. Jian Wushuang and his party will not talk about the dead ones. There were only 3 people alive, and the old man Tiankin picked up special materials worth hundreds of millions of immortal crystals. So he just needed to go out the original way. Getting out is easy now. Yang Dingtian led his men to the double-faced mountain. All immortals were transferred to double-faced mountain. Those who stay are all from the Mahayana period. Even if there are individual immortals, their strength is very weak. It can't stop the old man with a disability from going back. Not to mention Fairy Ziyu. She was treated the same as Jiuchen, and the other 3. You must know that Jiuchen is because of the Lord of Shenhua. Jian Wushuang wants to rely on him to find the Lord of Shenhua after recovery. Xiang Yang is for the sake of his peers. Jiang Anai is different, he is a direct disciple look at. Especially in the way of swordsmanship, which has been advancing by leaps and bounds in the past 100 years. All under his personal guidance. It can be said that my own kendo can be said to be taught to everyone. I only hope that the other party can master the ultimate source of kendo. It's a pity that this can't be forced. It depends on Jiang Nis' fortune. The only downside to her now is the lack of killing. Only the master of swordsmanship is strong enough to kill. How to master the ultimate source of swordsmanship without killing? Inside the 9 prison tower, the purple feather fairy, who suddenly appeared, was a little restrained. Although the people here were all at the peak of the Mahayana period, they thought that Jian Wushuang was also at the peak of the Mahayana period. So she always called herself a junior. The attitudes of the three are also very vague. Xiang Yang and Jian Wushuang have grown up from being weak, knowing Jian Wushuang's character of knowing how to reciprocate, so they didn't show off, treating them as equals and being the most polite. Jiuchen was different. He only started to deal with Jian Wushuang after he ascended, and he thought it was because of Jian Wushuang's lust. Jiang and I is similar. There is even a sense of loss in my heart. Senior Wushuang won't chase after my mother, right? She has never met her biological father, and the title of father is also very vague. Since following Jian Wushuang, whether it's about practice or his attitude when encountering things, they are all like a majestic mountain. He felt that his father should be like this, and had nothing to do with blood. Therefore, I hope that Jian Wushuang will become my father. But the premise is that Jian Wushuang will pursue his mother. In this way, she and Jian Wushuang also have a common goal. Do not. Now the common goal is the same, which is to find her mother. It turned out that Senior Wushuang seemed to be a little close to Fairy Ziyu, and he felt jealous for his mother. So he kept his face cold, and at the same time, he wondered if Jian Wushuang just liked this young woman? After all, so is her mother. Swish! Jian Wushuang's consciousness entered the 9-prison tower, which made Jiang and I stop thinking about it. Chapter 6403. Seeing the well-behaved Jiang and I standing aside, Jian Wushuang shook his head from the bottom of his heart. Kendo monks should not be cute, but fierce. Originally, Jiang and I was a very fierce little girl, but since following him, she has lost her vigor. This may have something to do with the continuous retreat, so he entered this time to let Jiang and I and others go out and practice. It's just that he doesn't know what Jiang and I thinks about himself in his heart. If he knows, he might be so embarrassed that his toes will cast a city wall. Fellow Taoist Ziyu, how are you still getting used to it? Jian Wushuang first expressed his condolences cordially. This also made Jiang and I more sure that he was interested in Fairy Ziyu, and felt very uncomfortable in his heart. So he rushed back and said, Senior Wushuang, what is the name of this grandma that you haven't introduced yet? Ah! Jian Wushuang opened his mouth wide and said in surprise, haven't you all been watching? Then he realized that Jiang and I was jealous. But he didn't understand. Who is Jiang and I jealous of? Is it possible to eat his jealousy? This can't be done. The seniority will be messed up like this. Huiqing had to hack him to death when he went out. Now he is redeeming sins, not adding sins to sins. Thinking of this, he also activated the strict state and shouted, Jiang and I, why are you talking to Senior? After speaking, he looked at Fairy Ziyu. The other party's complexion was not very good, but after seeing Jian Wushuang's attitude, she also felt that she was not that unbearable, so she said weakly, Senior Wushuang, it's just a title. There is no need to treat juniors so harshly. You're only a few years older than me. Jiang and I said dissatisfied. Jian Wushuang slapped his head. It was a bit big. He didn't want to stay here any longer. So he directly explained the reason why he came here. Go out to practice? The eyes of Xiang Yang, Jiuchen, and Jiang and I all lit up. Jian Wushuang said indifferently. Yes, in the double-faced divine palace, within the 100 million miles I explored with my thoughts. The strongest is a 6-step true immortal. The immortal level is your biggest threat. Don't worry, my mental power is not bad. If I see him, I will take you away. Xiang Yang patted his chest and said, Jiuchen and Jiang and I have been here for more than 100 years, and the three often compete with each other, and they all know that Xiang Yang is the strongest. She is far behind Jiuchen. Xiang Yang has not mastered the original way now, and has the fighting power of a 6-step real immortal. But she and Jiuchen only have the combat power of a 3-step real immortal. There is no way. Xiang Yang's experience far exceeds that of Jiuchen and Jiang and I. However, both Jiuchen and Xiang Yang rely on experience. After all, one is the true spirit created by the Lord of the universe, and the other is the reincarnation of the Lord of the universe itself. Jiang and I relies on talent. In the Mahayana period, he has the combat power of a 3-step true immortal, which is already very good. It's a talent. After all, there is a huge difference between the Mahayana period and the real immortal. The difference is a source. The real leap is after mastering the source. So these 3 people should work hard. And they can't wait in the 9 prison tower to feed themselves. For this reason, Jian Wushuang also laid down a series of requirements. This time you go out to practice, not to let you go out to play. First, Jiang and I and Jiuchen must kill a 3-step true immortal. This is a guarantee. Also, you must not attack monks in the Mahayana period. And you must not attack the weak. You can only kill true immortals. The more the better. At that time, you can kill the number of real immortals by yourself, and exchange them for treasures with me. And you will have to rely on your own ability to obtain treasures in the future. Second, Xiang Yang went to kill that 6-step true immortal. If he didn't kill him, you don't want to use this deep-sea legacy. Third, I only give you 3 days. Jian Wushuang took a deep breath and finally said, Okay, that's it for now. Wait, Xiang Yang stopped him at this time and said, Brother Wushuang, you first bring me 2 treasures that are convenient for me. I don't have anything in my hand, so I have no confidence. Looking at Xiang Yang's childish eyes, Jian Wushuang teased, I've already given it to you. The 6-step true fairy has a treasure suit on him. You can get it yourself. After speaking, the figure disappeared in the 9 prison tower. Before the 3 people in the tower could react, they were teleported thousands of miles away. Swish! The 3 figures fell directly into a cloud-shrouded pool of water. Their adventure is about to begin. Although there is no treasure, there are still immortal artifacts. Jian Wushuang is like an old father, worried about these 3 people. Everyone has a set of top-grade immortal artifacts, which are comparable in value to ordinary treasures. If this fails to complete the task he assigned, then he can perfectly integrate into the ancient world. Don't even think about going to another world, or even another universe with him in the future. Back to reality. At this time, he followed the 2 guardians and Patriarch Xuehe towards the double-faced mountain. None of the 3 took the initiative to go, and the double-faced Buddha had already issued an order to quickly go to a formation outside the double-faced mountain and teleport to the double-faced mountain. Because Yang Dingtian had already surrounded the entire double-faced mountain with a large number of strong men and was destroying the formation. The sound of destruction beyond the sound barrier was deafening. The 3 of them took Jian Wushuang and quickly found the hidden teleportation array. From here they could teleport to the double-faced mountain. After all, there is no way to directly enter the double-faced mountain, and the people outside are full of yang. No, it was discovered. Patriarch Xuehe exclaimed, not to mention Jian Wushuang felt it. There are 2 Taoist monarchs who are sweeping with their thoughts. A few of them were discovered directly. Jian Wushuang didn't block his mind power, but felt that these people couldn't stop him at all. Damn it, it turned out to be that old witch Yinhua. Why did she seek refuge with Yang Dingtian? Not only him but the people on the double-faced mountain just sent me a sound transmission. And even the trash lord of the Temple of Heaven also came. This time, Yang Dingtian came prepared. Protector Yunhei's complexion darkened, and he said in surprise, This Yang Dingtian probably took everyone to join Gyuding. Otherwise, why would there be so many people helping him deal with the palace master? The 3 of them didn't seem to care about Jian Wushuang, but what they could say was a secret for Jian Wushuang to listen to. Jian Wushuang stood behind the 3 of them and said calmly, Just enter the teleportation array. I will deal with these 2. Then thank you, senior. Guardian Qifeng smiled with his eyebrows lowered. Both Guardian Yunhai and Patriarch Xuehe had a lot of thoughts in their hearts. Jian Wushuang had previously confessed that he could give the 3 of them a big benefit, provided that he was brought into the double-faced mountain. Afterwards, they were able to guarantee the safety of the 3 of them and send them away from the sea-overlapping ancient region. Reminiscent of Jian Wushuang's treatment of the old man with a disability, the 3 of them were very tempted. But I'm also afraid that Jian Wushuang will kill the donkey. After all, the treasure involved is too important. At this time, the 3 of them were considering whether to sell Jian Wushuang. But now Yang Dingtian brought so many people to encircle and suppress the double-faced mountain. If they offend Jian Wushuang again, then the palace master will face enemies from both sides. Chapter 6404. They must not be able to hold on. and when the time comes, they will also be finished. Right now, I can only trust Jian Wushuang. But Jian Wushuang himself was a little unconfident. He wasn't sure what the realm of the strong alien who owned the spaceship was. It can't be the Lord of the Universe, but according to the strength mentioned by Yunhai Guardian, it may not be the Emperor. Dijuan is not that powerful. It may be an extremely strong person, or it may be a robbery, who has not yet mastered the universe. His wealth is immeasurable. Maybe it can directly help the double-faced Buddha to join the Tao. For 300 years, unity is enough. Even if there is no harmony, I am afraid that he has absorbed a lot of benefits at this time. And there must be a lot of cards. It's a pity that the double-faced sacred mountain has a large formation at the level of an emperor, and his mind power can't directly penetrate it. He can only feel that the double-faced Buddha is in the double-faced sacred mountain, but not necessarily after burning the power of immortality. If you get a lot of treasures, you can condense the divine body in advance. The physical body and the divine body are both condensed, as long as the divine power exceeds 10,000. A Taoist who can sweep the entire ancient world. Jian Wushuang's current combat strength is uncertain, so it is no problem to kill the opponent, but he is worried about accidents. If he makes a move, he must win it. Otherwise, it's better to watch a good show and let Yang Dingtian test the double-faced Buddha's whole cards, so that he can reap the benefits in the end. You don't need to do it yourself, which is great. Go in first. He waved his hand to signal the three of them to enter the teleportation array first. Patriarch Xuehe blinked, and after glancing at the two people beside him, he knew that these two people would not dare to betray Jian Wushuang, so he simply didn't dare to say anything. Just standing in the center of the formation, and watching Jian Wushuang perform. After the two masters discovered their movements, they rushed over while calling for support. The leader, Grandma Yinhua, has the top 20 combat power in the ancient region of overcoming the sea. She took the lead, and 3,000 silver threads surrounded her in an instant. There were still 2,000 miles away, so he made a bold move, and his combat power was indeed extraordinary. Jian Wushuang just stood silently, waiting for hair to rush, and took a sharp breath. The whole person swelled up. Beast God roar. Ow! A cry from ancient times made the entire double-faced divine palace tremble. With all his might, Jian Wushuang directly defeated Grandma Yinhua and the Taoist beside her. Happy. He didn't want to scare anyone, he just wanted to shout such a voice. If he yelled like that when it was okay, others would think he was okay. Just taking advantage of this opportunity. Shout out to yourself. All in one breath. But this was a huge shock to the three ancestors of Xuehe. With one breath, he defeated the two Taoist monarchs. Among them is a Grandma Yinhua, who can rank in the top 20 in combat power. This is simply too powerful. It was so strong that they didn't dare to take a big breath. Jian Wushuang stepped into the teleportation array, frowned and said, "What are you still doing? Teleportation?" Yes, I'll pass it on right away." Patriarch Xuehe hastily injected immortal power and opened the teleportation array. The teleportation array was activated, and a late-colored halo flashed across, and suddenly felt a heavy sense of oppression. The next moment, they opened their eyes again, and they entered the double-faced mountain. "Senior, I will wrong you for following us." Jian Wushuang didn't care and didn't answer. After entering the double-faced mountain, the three of them took him straight to the double-faced temple. That's where the double-faced Buddha often practiced. At this time, there are tens of thousands of real immortals on the mountain, and there are also real immortals sent from time to time. Because the two guardians came together, it naturally attracted the attention of many people, who came to say hello. After all, in the double-faced divine mansion, the four guardians are only one head lower than the double-faced Buddha. But Daojun is not only the four guardians. There are more than 20 people that Jian Wushuang can sense, and many of them are inside the mountain. This is probably the new force cultivated by the double-faced Buddha. After all, according to his speculation, the double-faced Buddha has obtained so many treasures, so he will definitely train some subordinates. Otherwise, he won't be able to hold it securely. I didn't run away directly, probably because I was worried that others would become suspicious. So staying in the double-faced divine mansion all the time, and declaring to retreat to the outside world, is actually absorbing the treasure of that strong man from another world. Now after entering the sacred mountain, he compared the aura of Yang Dingtian and the double-faced Buddha, and he could easily detect the huge gap between the two. It's not that the double-faced Buddha is too strong, but too weak. Compared with Yang Dingtian, it was ridiculously weak. When he was outside, he felt that Yang Dingtian's combat power had the combat power of the original Tao. It is rumored that he has only practiced the first series of inheritance of the secret art of the divine eye. Although he has cultivated to perfection, he has not practiced the second one. Then after burning his immortal power, his combat power should be comparable to that of the monks of the ultimate original way. But now that he felt the breath of the double-faced Buddha, he felt that he had been cheated. The aura of this double-faced Buddha is supported by some kind of treasure, and relying on that treasure, his combat power is not as strong as that of a first-rank monk of the original way. This guy is not playing with the golden cicada to escape the shell. Jian Wushuang frowned. If so, then this time Yang Dingtian can get revenge successfully, and he will get nothing. You must hold your beating heart. Fortunately, he didn't rush directly to the double-faced mountain, but chose to hide it. Otherwise, even if he killed the double-faced Buddha, he might not be able to get the treasure of that strong man from another world. Sure enough, this guy kept more than one hand. He began to envelop the entire double-faced sacred mountain with mental power, and began to investigate carefully. After finding out the situation of the other party, he also has other plans. At this time, he had already followed the three of them to the outside of the double-faced temple. There are two Taoist monarchs guarding outside the hall. This battle is not easy, and looking at the faces of the two guardians, it can also be seen that the two Taoist monarchs are unfamiliar faces. Even the two guardians don't know each other. Although he was a little surprised in his heart, he didn't say much, so he took Jian Wushuang and prepared to enter the double-faced temple. Unexpectedly, one of the Taoist guards directly stopped him. The two guardians in Blood River can go in, and the rest are not allowed, the guard Daojun said in a strict tone, without any room for negotiation. Protector Yunhei's complexion suddenly darkened, and he shouted angrily, "Arrogance, don't you know who I am?" A sneer leaked from the corner of the guard Taoist's mouth said, "It doesn't matter who it is. This is the order of the palace master." Jian Wushuang didn't insist either, so as not to be suspected in time. "You guys go in first, I'll stay outside." He sent a voice transmission to the three of them, but he didn't say that his mind power had been attached to the three of them. This breath cut off everything, and the double-faced Buddha couldn't detect it. Even if there is a top-notch formation outside the hall, it cannot be detected. After hearing this, Guardian Yunhai breathed a sigh of relief. He was afraid that Jian Wushuang would do something in the hall, so it would be best if he didn't go in. Please remember the first domain name of this book. Mobile version reading website. Chapter 6405. However, he still showed a face-conscious expression, snorted coldly at the two guards, and walked into the hall. Jian Wushuang stood outside the hall and waited. There are many others like him. These are the followers of those powerful true immortals and Taoist monarchs. But the strength is not weak. In order to be suspected, Jian Wushuang deliberately pretended to be an immortal, but his realm was only around 5 steps of immortal. It is incomparable with those followers of 7-step, or even 8-step true immortals next to him. Those people all have their own small circles, each chatting about the outside world. There was a sharp-eyed 8-step true immortal who just saw Jian Wushuang and Yunhai Guardian together. So he stepped forward and said, "This fellow Taoist, you are so strange. It's also the first time for me to enter the sacred mountain with the guardian of Yunhai." Jian Wushuang expressed neither humble nor overbearing. It made people feel that the background was not simple at a glance, so several people took the initiative to come forward and chat. It's nothing more than wanting to inquire about Yang Dingtian's siege of the double-faced mountain. After all, it was their own side that was besieged, so they were a little panicked, worried that the big formation would not be able to stop Yang Dingtian. This worry is right, because it is really unstoppable. Yang Dingshan's burning immortal power can break through the formation outside the mountain. But there is another formation outside the temple on the top of the mountain, so it is difficult for this formation. Up to now, Yang Dingtian has not attacked the formation, but has been mopping up the outside world to prevent the gathering of immortals and true immortals in the double-faced divine palace. It seems that Yang Dingtian is playing for real this time, so prepare for it. Jian Wushuang smiled from the bottom of his heart. He didn't expect this guy to be so defensive. For the sake of his younger brother, he actually came here to kill him, and he was going to destroy the entire double-faced divine mansion without doing anything. He is a ruthless person. Just as he was commenting on Yang Dingtian, the double-faced Buddha in the temple became ruthless. Inside the hall, gathered all Taoist monarchs and Jiubu Jinxian. There are hundreds of people. Among them, there are more than 20 Taoist monarchs and more than 79-step true immortals. This is fully twice as powerful as the double-faced Shenfu on the bright side. In the outside world's perception of the double-faced divine palace, there are absolutely not 10 Taoist monarchs. There are more than 39-step true immortals at most. But at this moment, so many strong men have gathered. The extra powerhouses stand on one side, and the old-school powerhouses stand on the other side. The old school has been staring at the new group of strong men, with mixed feelings in their hearts. The double-faced Buddha sitting first was very indifferent, but what he said just now was not indifferent. This battle must be fought, and it made it clear that it was a fight to the death. Either drive Yang Dingtian away, or we all die together. Just give them these two options. Although the current double-faced divine palace is very powerful, twice as powerful as before, there are 50 or 60 Taoist monarchs gathered outside. Among them are several extremely powerful Taoist monarchs, such as Grandma Yinhua and the Lord of the Temple of Heaven. Also, Yang Dingshan's mistresses are all top 20 masters. It's a fight to the death, and they can't beat it. It's not bad to be able to hold the top of the mountain by relying on the big formation. The double-faced Buddha has been facing everyone with a happy face, so he behaved very calmly and said gently, "I know that everyone will be a little scared in their hearts and think that we have no hope. So why don't we take everyone out together?" After he finished speaking, no one dared to look up. Don't look at the kindness on the face of the double-faced Buddha now. It's because it's the face of joy. The reason why it is called the double-faced Buddha is because he has two faces. He usually has a cheerful face to people, but when fighting, he will reveal his hideous face. It was a face that made everyone terrified, known as the killing face. The two sides of Buddhism and Taoism are joy and sorrow, but the double-faced Buddha is not sad. Nothing but joy is killing, or that killing made him happy. The two faces are so complementary. The killing made him happy, and the happy face was very useful for enlightenment. The double-sided secret method has been improved a little, and a super strong man has been created. Facing the happy side, no one dared to refute, let alone the killing side. The double-faced Buddha didn't even look at the faces of the people, and continued, "The reason why I advocate staying is of course not to ask you to die, but to have a countermeasure." Hearing that the double-faced Buddha had a countermeasure, this time the veterans all showed excitement. "I've known for a long time that the palace lord must have someone behind him. Otherwise how could he have summoned so many immortals?" Protector Yunhai still didn't forget to go up to flatter him at this time. "After all, I have the identity of my brother-in-law." But the double-faced Buddha ignored him, took out a mustard seed, and threw it to Guardian Qifeng. There are 10 immeasurable 5 immortal arrays inside, 5 9-step true immortals, plus 500 real immortals with 7-step, or more that can be manipulated. The core has divine power for you to drive, and your own immortal power can burn to increase the size of the array. Even without burning the power of immortality, the internal divine power alone is enough to rival a Taoist monarch like the Temple of Heaven. As soon as these words came out, everyone was shocked. They have never heard of such a large formation. If it is really like what the double-faced Buddha said, the value is too great. 5 9-step true immortals, 500 7-step true immortals, and 8-step true immortals are not enough. 1 8-step true immortal is comparable to 10 7-step true immortals, and the conversion is based on this. 55 people can drive. With the immeasurable 5 immortal formation, it can be compared to the top 20 Taoist monarchs in the ancient domain of covering the sea. Do not. It's not about being comparable, it's about being able to match or even suppress. After hearing about Jian Wushuang's Nianli hidden in the dark is happy. Now the opponent has completely stone-hammered and obtained the treasure of the strong man from another world. This can be regarded as a harvest. After all, there were a lot of speculations before, and all I could see was that the strength of the double-faced Buddha was still a bit illusory. Now under close observation, the opponent is not only weak in strength, but also weak in life force. It's not right. Jian Wushuang frowned slightly. Just when he was having doubts, there was another uproar in the hall. There are still formations. I saw the double-faced Buddha took out another formation. Emperor Destroyer formation. The double-faced Buddha took out the formation and patiently explained. This formation is even more magical. Its appearance is for the Tao Lord to fight against the Emperor. All the Taoists all took a breath. Those Taoist monarchs with unfamiliar faces all looked indifferent. Or it is a little wooden. Others can't see it, but Jian Wushuang can feel that the souls of these people are flawed. A flawed soul either becomes demented or falls asleep. And these people have strong auras, and they are probably controlled by others. Simply put, it was enslaved. And the only person in the temple who has the ability to enslave so many Taoist monarchs and 9-step true immortals is double-faced Buddha. At this time, the double-faced Buddha said again, Zhuin, you will use this Emperor Mia formation to deal with Yang Dingtian. Yes. Amongst the unfamiliar faces, a beautiful but somewhat feminine woman came out. Without any hesitation, she immediately refined the large formation, and the means of refining seemed to be very proficient. Chapter 6406. Among these 9 people, Zhuin chose Daojun with unfamiliar faces. None of the new emperors were selected. The 5 immortals formation is similar. The 9-step immortals in the main position are all true immortals with unfamiliar faces, while the assistant Zwar immortals are mixed with many old-school powerhouses. The ancestor of Xuehe thought that he could also stand in the formation of 5 immortals, but he didn't expect that even his elder brother Chu Xiong was not allocated, so he could only watch. The old school without formations became anxious for a while. They all looked at the double-faced Buddha eagerly, thinking about taking out some formations. With these 11 large formations, and with the help of everyone, I think we should be able to defend the double-faced mountain. The double-faced Buddha looked at everyone. The shouts that lead the 11 large formations are full of confidence. Taoist lords and true immortals who did not have a large formation, although a little unconvinced, they still gritted their teeth and admitted. One must know that none of the recognized top 10 true immortals and 4 great protectors has a large formation, which is simply too chilling. The sudden addition of a part of strange powerhouses took all the benefits. The double-faced Buddha also saw that the old subordinates were not convinced. In order to boost morale, he still signaled to Guardian Chiefing to announce, the palace master still has a puppet, which needs 4 Taoist lords and 10 real immortals, so Brother Chu and the brothers of Xuehe stay behind, and the rest can leave. This sentence can be regarded as a reassurance for the old school. After all, there are some old-school true immortals in the formation. Now the 4 great guardians and the 10 true immortals are all assigned to manipulate puppets. I am not afraid that those new strong men will die without saving them. One by one is recognized. The 11 formations took the lead to gather outside the hall. Jian Wushuang's real body was also mixed in. While breathing, he went from a 5-step true immortal to a 7-step ultimate true immortal. A manipulator of the 5 immortals formation chose him to enter the 5 immortals formation, seeing his strength. Originally, he wanted to watch the 2 sides fight. However, he realized that the double-faced Buddha was likely to leave behind a clone, and secretly enslaved so many powerful people, as well as the current formation. Don't expect Yang Dingtian and the others to be overwhelmed by the time and be repulsed. Then it will be troublesome. So be prepared to help each other out. The 5 immortals formation is indeed good, at least not a large formation that the ancient world could create. 5 9-step true immortals, and 500 7-step true immortals manipulated together. But what is manipulated is power, and the dominant position is a 9-step true immortal called Shangya Taoist. He himself has been enslaved, but the other 4 9-step true immortals around him are all old-school true immortals. After all, there are only 30 or so real immortals of the new sect. It is still not enough to satisfy that each formation is 5 new true immortals. Jian Wushuang can completely make a fuss about this, wait for the critical moment to kill Shangya Taoist, and then take the opportunity to manipulate the big formation to turn against him. It's not that he needs to use the power of the big formation, but the identity of the big formation. Don't let the double-faced Buddha become suspicious, lest the other party run away directly. His deity followed the formation to the foot of the mountain, ready to fight at any time. The mind power attached to Yunhai Guardian and others also inquired about the situation firsthand in the temple. The puppet produced by the double-faced Buddha is very average. It is far less wonderful than the 5 Immortals formation and the Emperor Mia formation, but the power is still there. Cosmic Crystal? With a move in Jian Wushuang's heart, his thoughts easily sensed a black cosmic crystal inlaid in the puppet's core. Or destroy the original universe crystal. This puppet is not very good, but its power is very violent. 10 true immortals assist the left, and 4 protectors dominate. The combat power is extremely powerful, and the death battle is not weak. Yunhai, you control the destroyer soldiers, go to the foot of the mountain and gather all the strong ones, ready to fight. Protector Yunhai seemed very excited at this time, and said loudly, "Yes, hum." The destroyer soldier took a step forward, and came directly to the foot of the mountain. There is a towering ancient tree at the foot of the mountain. Tens of thousands of people lay in ambush here, just waiting for an order. Protector Yunhai manipulated the extinguishing god soldiers, and stood majestically in the center of the crowd. Next to him is an Emperor Destruction formation. The formation is condensed into a human form, but it doesn't look like a human, more like a human war beast. God Chia. The magic formation turned into a divine beast, but it was a humanoid divine beast. The 5 Immortals formation is a phantom humanoid face. The only difference from ordinary monks is that the system is 100 times larger. Further outside, there are a group of Taoist monarchs in Jibu Jinxian. They have no formation, and they are the most unlucky at this moment. But there is no way. I can only rely on these powerful formations to resist everything. Following the double-faced Buddha's order, the Dharma protector Yunhai, who was manipulating the extinguishing god soldiers, shouted angrily, and manipulated the puppet to press the ground under his feet with one hand. Hum! A huge totem appeared instantly. Space Beast God. The well-informed Jian Wushuang recognized it at a glance. It was the shadow of the golden beast god. It is normal for this universe to have beast gods. It seems that the identity of the strong man from another world is not simple, spaceship, beast totem. Everything is not a treasure that ordinary emperors or ordinary superpowers can obtain. As the totem rose, tens of thousands of real immortals were teleported out instantly. In the sky, the true immortal who was on guard suddenly found an unknown beast-shaped totem on top of his head. Before he had time to be surprised, he discovered the arrival of the 10,000 immortals. My Chow, why did I come to the opponent's base camp? Protector Yunhai reacted swiftly, manipulated the god-destroying soldiers into the temporary base camp of Yang Dingshan's side, directly activated the destructive power in that cosmic crystal, and began to kill all directions. For a moment, the endless hall was instantly shattered. These are the main halls prepared for the crusade against the double-faced Buddha, and they were shattered into pieces in an instant. The top powerhouse, Yang Dingtian, was the first to strike, and with a flying punch, he blasted the Mia Xianbing out of his own camp. But one went away, and another came. It is the more powerful Emperor Destruction formation. Yang Dingtian, you dare to invade the double-faced divine palace. I will let you stay today. The prehistoric behemoths gathered in the D Mia Great Formation, headed straight up. Yang Dingtian didn't dare to be careless. Yuan Yuan Dao broke out immediately, and the two sides started a hand-to-hand fight. The fighting was extremely fierce, and the surrounding world was shaking. Yang Dingtian couldn't tell the winner for a while, but it was difficult for the others. This time, Yang Dingshan's side organized the battle to destroy Buddha with several top Taoist monarchs. Even the 10 Great Five Immortals formation can only block most of the top Taoist monarchs, and the rest needs to be blocked by the old-school Taoist monarchs of the Destroyer Warrior and Double-Faced Divine Palace. Fortunately, with the weapon of the Destroyer Warrior, one person can block the 3 top Taoist monarchs. Grandma Yinhua and the Lord of the Temple of Heaven are among them. And there is also an old man in black robes, who is also a top 20 existence. The battle between the two sides started in an instant, but some people had already fallen in an instant. Because it was a sneak attack, the 5 immortal formation beheaded the most real immortals. And in just an instant, hundreds of real immortals fell from the sky. The level of cruelty was unprecedented in the sea-covering ancient region. Chapter 6408. Emperor Destroyer Formation. Still standing in the Sea of Fire. At this moment, the powerhouses on the side of the double-faced Divine Palace heaved a sigh of relief. Jian Wushuang also breathed a sigh of relief. What he wants now is balance. Then put pressure on both sides. On Yang Dingshan's side, he didn't want extravagantly, but on the side of the double-faced Buddha, he had to produce something more. Only in this way can he judge the determination of the double-faced Buddha. Another thing is to wait for the other party's flaws. He wants to see if the other party's body in the double-faced mountain is the deity. If he didn't try it out, he wouldn't easily disrupt the situation. In the great formation of Emperor Destroyer, the 9 Daijins all closed their eyes. A terrifying aura was rising above them. The rest of the people didn't know, but Jian Wushuang could tell that the center of the Emperor Mia formation had changed. It was replaced with the same power as the Destroyer Warrior. That is divine power. There is a cosmic crystal inside, which is the divine power of the cosmic level. It is not pure divine power from the divine body. This is still different. The divine power of the divine body comes from the Emperor. Even the heaven-defying Taoist can master it. Then there is the divine power of the Lord of the Universe, which comes from the original universe. The power of the source and the divine power are condensed together, and the power is far beyond ordinary divine power. To put it simply, divine power is divided into ordinary, universe level, space-time level, and starry sky level. Jian Wushuang has already cleared the level, and even mastered the power of disorder. That is the power beyond the power of the starry sky. However, this kind of power consumes too much, and is not suitable for him to use at his peak. Usually still use cosmic level divine power. The same is true for most cosmic gods. It is easier to use cosmic level divine power, and it is better to control it. Unless you are using a time-space level secret method, such as Jian Wushuang's eternal transformation, which is a starry sky level secret technique, you need to use the power of the starry sky. Even the power of disorder. Of course, this is the realm god continent. If they are in the starry sky, most of the powerhouses still use the power of the starry sky. This also has to do with location. It also has something to do with boundaries. The god of time and space does not use the power of time and space, but instead uses the power of the god of the universe. That would be ridiculous. Just like now, the Emperor Destroyer formation has the combat power of a Taoist monarch, but it has given up mastering the simplest immortal power and turned to use cosmic level divine power. This power is much more violent than ordinary divine power. After fighting for such a long time, the destroyer soldiers only consumed a little, and Yuhua Tianjun, who was able to fight, could only defend passively. The main reason is that they have not been able to fully control the destroyer soldiers. They have not even studied the secret technique on the puppet, and they cannot use it. They can only use the internal divine power to erupt such a powerful force. According to Jian Wushuang's guess, to fully control the god-destroying soldiers, at least one emperor is needed, who can manipulate the divine power at will, and then a large number of Taoist monarchs. I am afraid that at least 1,000 Taoist monarchs are needed. Only in this way can the strongest combat power of the god-destroying soldiers be erupted, and the power can reach at least 50,000 divine power. Jian Wushuang is calculated according to the internal cosmic crystal. He didn't have the habit of refining puppets, but at the beginning, the Xuanwu Hall in Qishan Temple was dedicated to refining puppets, just to prepare for his rise in the future. But unfortunately he couldn't participate in the battle later. Those puppets are also very delicate, and their power is similar to that of the Destroyer Warrior. This is at least the power of the Lord of the Universe level, to be able to refine in large quantities. Its value definitely surpassed the Emperor-Destroyer formation. At this time, the Demia formation had already begun to burn its divine power, and that violent force wished to crush the Demia formation. Obviously, the Demia formation was still somewhat reluctant to use its divine power. But as long as he can defeat Yang Dingtian, with a little bit of force, and not collapse directly, that's enough. It turns out that this is the whole card. Jian Wushuang was a little disappointed. After all, it was nothing new, and he could see that when Yang Dingtian felt the divine power, a mysterious force appeared in his body, the same as divine power. The next battle was even better. The Demia formation was reborn, gained divine power, and surpassed Yang Dingtian in combat power. The battle situation reversed instantly. Yang Dingtian was pushed directly out of the battlefield by the Emperor-Destroyer formation, and the two sides fought fiercely in the distant hues. Yang Dingshan's immortal power was like a child in front of the divine power, and he was so beaten that he was powerless to fight back. On the frontal battlefield, the extinguishing god soldiers are about to deal with Yuhua Tianjun, and the situation is very good. At this moment, the coalition camp lost its fighting spirit. After all, we are not a single force, we just unite to destroy the double-faced Buddha, and we can each get some benefits. Of course, there are still many secrets that are unknown. Now that they have no advantage, they are all wavering. Yang Dingtian, who was the leader, was suppressed and beaten. Once Yuhua Tianjun couldn't stop him, the god-destroying soldiers cooperated with the Five Immortals formation, and they could quickly sweep them away. The situation took a turn for the worse. At this time he had to wait for Yang Dingtian to erupt and take him in to escape, or Jian Wushuang took the initiative to do something. However, the thought power he left behind in the temple has yet to find out whether the double-faced Buddha is the deity or the avatar at this time. For a while, the pressure came to him. I can't do this. I don't have time to think about it. If I don't attack Yuhua Tianjun, the coalition forces will almost be defeated. Jian Wushuang thought in his heart whether he should do it now. Once he does, he won't use particularly powerful combat power, but let the opponent lose to yourself. The main thing is to be the straw that breaks the camel's back, so that the double-faced Buddha will not run away directly. The ghost knows what tricks the other party has. If the clone is here to confuse everyone in the lake, then he will be at a big loss. With his current combat strength, it is not a problem to sweep these people, but it is very difficult to capture them alive and search for their souls. Otherwise he wouldn't have waited so hard. There is no way, he has not grasped the origin now. There is only the original source, and no treasures are used to improve it. Most of the combat power comes from the physical body. This kind of power is too rough, and he can't use many secret methods. Pure physical strength is fine for hand-to-hand combat, but it is too difficult to use various secret methods. What to do? Wait or not? Jian Wushuang was a little confused. This time is a very good opportunity. If he gets a spaceship, he can go to various worlds to explore. Maybe he can break through and master new origins. You can go without a flying boat, but the speed is too slow, and there are various dangers and troubles along the way. Spaceships are key to him. If he returns to the peak, he will naturally look down on this kind of treasure, but at this level, if he is given a spaceship, he will directly announce that it will take off. Without the spaceship, he would have to waste a long time in the ancient world. Just when he hesitated, Yuhua Tianjun, who fought fiercely with the god-destroying soldiers, was completely defeated. Half of his immortal power was burned, and he was finally defeated. Exhausted the last strength to cast the blood shield. At first, he thought that the other party wanted to escape, But unexpectedly, Yuhua Tianjun chose to use his last strength to charge towards the diminishing formation. It was a flying sword. Chapter 6409. Penetrating the space, stabbing towards the great formation of Dai Mia. Puff. The flying sword pierced through the great formation of Di Mia and flew to Yang Dingshan's eyes. The shape of the sword turned into mist, revealing the last appearance of Yuhua Tianjun. Immediately shattered. Before it was broken, her red lips parted slightly, as if she wanted to say something, but she spoke silently, looking at the disappearing figure and the angry Emperor Miedazhan after being attacked. At this moment, Yang Dingtian felt a splitting headache, a heart-piercing feeling swept through his body, and the long-suppressed anger broke out completely. No, his wailing roar made the world lose its original color. His younger brother died in the double-faced divine palace, and he wanted to take revenge. His woman did not hesitate to take the risk of organizing everyone to destroy the entire double-faced divine mountain. However, less than an hour after the start of the battle, Yuhua Tianjun fell in front of him. At this moment, there was regret and unwillingness in his heart. All his emotions melted into a ball, and Yang Dingshan's eyes also changed. A momentary change is an accumulation over time. Not only his eyes are changing, but his strength is also changing. A golden fruit shattered in his body, and the power in the fruit instantly filled his whole body. Yang Dingtian tore off the headband, let his long hair fly, wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and took a bunch of silk from the sky. He held it carefully and tied the blood-colored satin on his forehead. The aura on his body also began to rise crazily from this moment. That powerful aura made everyone present stunned. The double-faced Buddha who had been silent in the temple opened his eyes at this moment. Golden Yanghua. The double-faced Buddha's face was stunned, and he exclaimed in his heart. He actually has a golden yang fruit. It seems that there is some chance, but I'm going to be in trouble. Ah! He sighed softly, raised his hand and pointed, and 3 silver puppets appeared. After the 3 puppets appeared, they already had consciousness. I have seen the Lord. The 3 silver puppets are somewhat similar to the destroyer warrior, but their power is more than a little stronger. Moreover, these 3 puppets are puppets on the outside, but there is a broken soul inside. It doesn't look like a puppet that has been refined, but more like a half-human, half-puppet monster formed by some kind of sacrifice ceremony. I didn't want to use the 3 of you at first, but that guy outside is really hard to deal with. Hurry up and capture him. The speed must be fast. Don't love to fight, and don't consume his strength. The 3 silver puppets bowed their heads together and said, "Yes." After speaking, he turned into streamer and rushed out of the cave. With Jian Wushuang's thought power staying here, a shocking secret was detected in the eyes of the double-faced Buddha. Interesting, outside world. Yang Dingshan's sudden eruption can be regarded as saving the twilight of Yuhua Tianjun's fall. The horn of counterattack is also blowing at this moment. Yang Dingtian, who took the lead, tore apart the Daimi formation with one hand, and rushed straight to the Maizhen warriors. Protector Yunhei's heart sank, and he almost shouted for help. Shredded the injured Emperor Destruction formation with one hand. With this terrifying combat power, it only takes 2 moves to easily deal with the Destroyer Warrior. Although it is impossible to shatter, it is still very simple to shatter the practitioners inside. Escape! Yang Dingtian shouted angrily. I'll see where you are running. The extinguishing god soldiers headed straight for the double-faced god mountain, regardless of the threat of Yang Dingtian. At this time inside the puppet. Yunhai, what are you doing? Even if you can't beat him, you don't have to run so desperately. Are you not afraid of the palace master's punishment? A blue-haired young man is also one of the 4 guardians. He was a little disdainful of Yunhei's way of protecting the law. At this time, I ran away, and the palace master will blame me in the future, saying no, it must perish. Protector Yunhai didn't bother to pay attention to him. The same is true for Chief and Guardian. They have Jian Wushuang to keep, and they are not going to hang out in the double-faced mountain. Who cares about the future results? It's right to run away in danger now. Moreover, it was Jian Wushuang's bad idea to kill Yuhua Tianjun earlier. Now of course I have to escape. Jian Wushuang asked Yunhai Guardian to kill Yuhua Tianjun, also wanting to force Yang Dingtian. Otherwise, the other party kept hiding, making him very passive. Well now, the whole cards are all leaked. Jian Wushuang became the biggest winner, because he discovered the secret of the double-faced Buddha. He is not in a hurry now. He will help Yang Dingtian push down the double-faced holy mountain, and face the double-faced Buddha directly later. At that time, put a little more pressure on the other party. He is not worried that the other party will run away now. If he could run away, the double-faced Buddha would have already run away. Now he has been staying in the double-faced mountain, and he keeps taking out his whole cards to resist Yang Dingtian, so he probably won't be able to escape. But there are still a lot of cards. Now in his eyes, the double-faced Buddha is no longer as simple as a Taoist monarch. Everything depends on the next action. The god-destroying soldiers are on the run, and Yang Dingtian is chasing them. 3 streamers also joined the battlefield at this moment. Seeing that rescue was coming, the destroyer soldier heaved a sigh of relief. Originally, he asked for help from Jian Wushuang, but Jian Wushuang said that the double-faced Buddha still had a backhand, and Yunhai Guardian was going crazy. He thought Jian Wushuang was fooling himself, but he didn't expect that there was a backhand. 3 silver puppets. Their appearance is similar to that of god-destroying soldiers. www.novel.com should belong to a series of puppets. It's just that the power is different. The extinguishing god soldier is black in body and extremely hard. From the point of view of materials and strength alone, the power of the silver puppet is far less than that of the destroyer warrior. After all, it is a puppet condensed through sacrifice ceremony. There is a lot of difference in power. But the upper limit of the destroyer warrior is high, and the lower limit is also high. The current power has not even been displayed to 1%. It is true that the hips are very stretched. The 3 silver puppets saw the Mieshan Zhanbing being chased and beaten by a Taoist monarch, and their silver faces turned black. How could the Lord hand over the God Slayer to such a waste? Have no idea. This is simply an insult to the destroyer warrior. You must know that the power of the destroyer warrior is enough to kill the great lord of the God Eye clan. No one listened to the sound transmission of the 3 silver puppets, and they just complained about it, stopping Yang Dingtian for the Mieshan Zhanbing. Faced with the 3 silver puppets that suddenly appeared, Yang Dingtian did not hesitate at all. As long as he stood in front of him, he would defeat them. Or kill. Go away. Yang Dingtian roared furiously, clenched his fist with one hand, and punched out, but was firmly caught by the 3 puppets. His divine power has reached about 5,000, which is interesting. The silver puppet commented calmly. The divine power of the silver puppets is 10,000 each. However, because they haven't replenished their divine power for many years, their power has dropped a lot. And now it is only half, but it is more than a mistake to win Yang Dingtian. The defense of the silver puppet itself is comparable to that of a treasure. Naturally, it doesn't need a treasure, and it doesn't have any secret methods. Instead, it uses its own divine power to fight. 3 silver puppets besieged Yang Dingtian alone. Yang Dingtian, who was in an unstable mood at the moment, although his divine power was terrifying, he really couldn't do anything about him. Chapter 64:10. Without the dangerous Mieshan Zhanbing, he wanted to help others, but was stopped by Jian Wushuang, and asked them to stand and watch from a distance. Because Jian Wushuang was about to make a move. Main battlefield. The top 10 formations of 5 immortals fought fiercely with the 10 top Taoist monarchs, and the fight was inextricable. An hour passed, and neither side was injured. This is outrageous. There is no way. Those Tao lords don't burn the power of immortality. They just blindly defend. The starting point is to meet a weak opponent, otherwise, you will always be on guard, and you will never waste your immortal power. Most of them came to drink soup, and no one was willing to burn the power of immortality to go all out. Once the power of immortality is burned, it will be addictive. If more than half of it is burned, it is easy to damage the foundation of the original source, and then it is tantamount to the end of the future. Although they took the route of divine eyes, they were not afraid of being burned. but still very protective of the original way. After all, this is the only way to become an emperor. Even if it is a weak emperor, he is still an emperor. Although the emperors of the Holy Land are powerful, after so many years, there are only 4 emperors in total. Although the strength is extremely strong, the chance of success in joining the Tao is ridiculously low. More and more Taoists are unwilling to go all the way to darkness. The orthodoxy of the Holy Land is not far from being broken, but it will not perish. If it cannot become the mainstream, it will become a special path. A route comparable to the ultimate way. And compared to the ultimate way, the path of God's eye mystery is quite good. It's not as difficult as the ultimate way, but the combat power is about the same. It's just that the upper limit may not be as high as the ultimate way. The thoughts of these Taoist monarchs have already represented the reality of the entire ancient world. At this time, they besieged the double-faced Holy Mountain together, and did not give the Holy Land any face, which is enough to explain everything. Even the Lord of the Temple of Heaven, who came from the Holy Land, is the same. It is conceivable that the interior of the Holy Land is already unstable. If the power wants to grow bigger, it needs to be the majority of the backbone. No matter how powerful the top power is, what's the use? It's not me. Now the backbone of the Holy Land is still Daojun, and the emperor on the side of Gyuding is no longer the top combat power. The top combat power is only the master of Gyuding, and the rest of the emperors have become the backbone. Who doesn't want to be an emperor? This time the siege of the double-faced mountain is an attitude, and it is even possible to take the opportunity to turn against them. They are willing to take risks for this reason. Speaking of which, it was all Yuhua Tianjin's idea, but now Yuhua Tianjin himself has fallen. It also made many people sigh, and even the will to fight was not high. Although Yang Dingtian is very powerful, just when the will of the Taoists in the coalition army was not firm, a powerful fluctuation suddenly gave them a great momentum. I saw that a statue of 5 immortals suddenly changed its appearance, from an old man's appearance to a young man's face. The body shape also changed accordingly. From the original means of using spells, it was instantly transformed into a decisive formation of sword immortals. Kill! With a simple word, murderous aura swept across the entire main battlefield in an instant. But this is the 5 immortal formation, the power of the double-faced mountain. So why would it excite the coalition forces? Because this 5 immortal formation suddenly pulled out an 800-foot divine sword, which instantly shattered the 5 immortal formation next to it, killing the 5 immortal formation comparable to the top Daojun with one sword. This is my own. Someone in the coalition army yelled, and the rest of them understood. With one of the 5 immortals missing, the battlefield changed rapidly, and the strong men of the double-faced mountain began to fall one after another. The top Taoist who had dealt with the 5 immortal formation manipulated by Jian Wushuang began to help other Daojins. The same is true for Jian Wushuang, only the first sword is stronger, and then the strength is maintained to a relatively normal level, comparable to Yuhua Jinxian, but stronger than the ordinary 5 immortals formation. All the true immortals inside the formation are now lost and useless. Jian Wushuang can be regarded as dragging these people to defect. I'm afraid they themselves don't know what just happened. Jian Wushuang also didn't have the consciousness to explain, and joined forces with the Taoist lord in the coalition to help another Taoist lord deal with the 5 immortals formation. If a formation of 5 immortals is broken, hundreds of true immortals will be slaughtered. It only takes a few breaths to go from evenly matched to one-sided. Yang Dingtian didn't notice it, and the 3 silver puppets didn't care. The 2 sides are still fighting. Originally, the double-faced Buddha meant to solve the battle quickly, but now it is getting more and more difficult. From the beginning of suppressing Yang Dingtian to the moment of balance, it was only a few breaths. That is to say, after a few breaths, Yang Dingtian's divine power increased by a large amount. His divine power has broken through 6,000, a silver puppet exclaimed after being knocked back by Yang Dingtian. I can't stop it. After the god-destroying soldiers in the distance sensed that something was wrong, they began to retreat one after another. At the same time, Guardian Yunhai, who was manipulating the Extinguisher Warrior, saw the 5 Immortals sword formation that killed the quartet after the defection. This is definitely what Jian Wushuang did. What is he going to do? At this moment, Guardian Qifeng, Guardian Yunhai, and Patriarch Xuehe were all at a loss. Jian Wushuang helped on both sides, like a stick. I really don't understand what Jian Wushuang is going to do. If it's for someone from another world then you should go to trouble with the double-faced Buddha. But Jian Wushuang asked them to kill Yuhua Tianjun, causing Yang Dingtian to erupt. Then Yang Dingtian broke out, and Jian Wushuang used a 5 immortal formation to defeat the strong man of the double-faced mountain. I don't know if others can understand it. Anyway, the 3 of them can't understand it. Don't think about it. Now we are tied to the same boat with him. We just killed Yang Dingshan's concubine and betrayed the palace master. If we don't follow Jian Wushuang wholeheartedly, we can't mix in this world. Guardian Qifeng is the most thoughtful. He knew that there was only one way to go to the dark now. At least Jian Wushuang was not as dark as the double-faced Buddha, and they still had hope to live. Tell me, now that we are defecting, can this Yang Dingtian spare us? Jian Wushuang. Good idea. Guardian Yunhai directly transmitted sound to Jian Wushuang, looking for what to do next. Jian Wushuang cooperated with Dao Jun of the coalition camp to kill happily. After hearing the question from Guardian Yunhai, he replied directly. Go back to the double-faced sacred mountain. The current double-faced Buddha is a paper tiger. Don't worry, just wait for Yang Dingtian to kill him and go in. Good. Yanen. After being affirmed by Dharma protector Yunhai, he immediately manipulated the extinguishing god soldiers to flee back. The double-faced Buddha, who had been paying attention to this battle, frowned slightly. He was not surprised by Yunhai's actions, not because he knew Yunhai's guardian law. Instead, I feel that the extinguishing warriors really can't play any role now. If Yang Dingtian got it, the consequences would be disastrous. Because the destroyer soldiers do not need to recognize their masters, the internal structure is complicated, but the manipulation is very simple. If Yang Dingtian controlled it alone, he might be able to rival the emperor. Now Yang Dingshan's combat power is far below the level of the emperor, even the weakest emperor. Chapter 64:12. It looks extraordinarily great. Everyone sincerely sighed with emotion, lamenting the era of the ascenders back then. Righteousness is still there. The light of righteousness is still there. Yang Dingtian was alone, his divine body turned into a size of 10,000 feet, blocking all attacks. Behind him were hundreds of real immortals and individual Taoist monarchs. The strong attack washed away his divine body. From 8,000 times to 10,000 times, it was barely blocked. This is also the limit of Yang Dingtian. With 10,000 times the divine power, this is already a strong man at the level of the Taoist lord against the sky, and he can fight against the existence of the emperor. 10,000 times divine power. This Yang Dingtian didn't practice 2 sequences of divine eye mystic techniques, but he can burn his divine power to 10,000 times. How strong is his basic divine power? Our covering ancient region is about to produce a big shot. Everyone looked surprised. He didn't expect Yang Dingtian to be so strong, and to risk his life to save those true immortals. But when the divine power is increased to 10,000 times, that little attack is nothing. Only Jian Wushuang knew that Yang Dingtian was able to improve so much in a short period of time because of the fruit in his body. Once the fruit was completely consumed, the backlash might cause Yang Dingtian to fall directly. Therefore, Yang Dingtian doesn't have much time. He can't wait until the fruit is consumed. He must leave 1/3 of his power to maintain his divine body, thereby completely abandoning the power of immortality and converting it into divine power. On the basis of the physical body, create a 10,000 times divine body. Once successful, Yang Dingshan's combat power will be fixed at 10,000 times the divine power. What a pity! Jian Wushuang shook his head secretly. He is regretting the fruit. It's just too wasteful to use it like this. Because that is the treasure of the Golden Way. Even the emperor can't afford it. But the usefulness is only for Daojun, and most emperors don't need it. Of course, if you don't major in the origin of space, you will need a powerful person who wants to master the universe. A golden fruit can at least be exchanged for a spaceship, comparable to the treasure of the universe. It is countless times stronger than the innate treasure. This covering ancient domain is not big, and there are quite a lot of treasures. Although Jian Wushuang regretted it, he would not a crushed golden fruit. If Yang Dingtian is taken down with his refining method, he can extract 2/3 of the power of the golden fruit. But it cannot last forever. Because he is still struggling with the power of all things now, it is too difficult to gather a large amount of life power. The key to so much power of life must be more valuable than the power of the fruit of gold. This is a loss-making business. Of course, you can also use the power of the golden fruit directly. The help to Daojun is great, even greater than helping Jiejing. Especially for true immortals who master the origin of space. It is simply a treasure against the sky. Space contains too many origins. At least 90% of the people present are monks of the origin of space. If they know that besieging Yang Dingtian now, the benefit they will get is countless times more than the treasure of the double-faced Buddha. And they don't know if they will change their face. At this moment, Yang Dingtian blocked all the attacks and turned around slowly, like the only true between heaven and earth. This is the light of the 10,000 times divine body. Under the light, Jian Wushuang couldn't help showing a look of surprise. So I was so strong back then. When he was Daojun, he reached the divine body 100,000 times. That is the most perfect Taoist divine body, surpassing the power of the laws of the universe. It is already the strongest in time and space. This is the strongest divine body bred by time and space. And he is still an acquired body. Even if it is innate, that is the innate life conceived in the entire time and space. And his acquired life in the universe, when he was a Taoist, conceived 100,000 times the perfect Taoist body. It is by no means an exaggeration to look down on time and space. It's just that at that time, he really didn't feel how strong he was. After getting together, it's almost the same. This is the power of cognition. It's also a matter of vision. If he hadn't met the temple of Qi at the beginning, even if it is 10,000 times the power of the gods, he will feel very powerful and amazing. Just like those monks watching Yang Dingtian now. Eyes full of envy. 10,000 times the divine body. The perfect divine body among the Taoists of the universe. The pinnacle of cosmic level special life. But the fruit of gold is too rare. Without the golden fruit, Yang Dingtian would not have condensed the divine body so quickly. What's more, it's not really stable yet. The current divine power is the burst of divine power. If the basic divine power is to reach 10,000 times, you still have to calm down and absorb the power of the golden fruit. But at present, it seems that the other party does not have this time. Facing the extremely powerful Yang Dingtian, the double-faced Buddha in the double-faced temple also seems to have been expected. Palace Master, Yang Dingshan's strength is too weird. I'm afraid he used some kind of forbidden technique. Guardian Yunhai raised his mouth at this time. The double-faced Buddha would not know, raised his eyelids and sighed. Then just wait. Indeed, this is a good ultimate move. Wait until Yang Dingtian can't hold on. Similarly, the formation of the double-sided temple may not be able to hold on. At this time, the 4 guardians and the 10 true immortals in the temple were all anxious. Yang Dingshan's strength, they know about it. They are already stronger than the Palace Master. But I didn't expect it to be so powerful. The key point is that the double-faced Buddha has never made a move, but just took out some treasures that they couldn't understand. Originally thought that the Palace Master would make a move at a critical moment. And even if he didn't make a move, he would have to show some whole cards. But he didn't expect that the last whole card would be to wait, wanting to drag Yang Dingtian to death. But Yang Dingtian is not a fool either. This made many people somewhat disappointed with the double-faced Buddha. The Buddha who once killed the face seems to be gone. Instead, a coward. If you can't resist, at least you have to kill it. Just wait like this. If they are broken, then they will all be finished. But the double-faced Buddha had spoken, and they didn't dare to refute at this moment. I can only watch quietly. Jian Wushuang's thoughts naturally captured the meaning of the double-faced Buddha. And he was also a little anxious at the moment. What is he doing? If it's really a clone, it shouldn't be. He had noticed that there was a big problem with the double-faced Buddha before, but looking at it now, it was almost certain that there was a real problem. With so many formations and puppets, as well as innate treasures, there should be a lot of life-saving things on him. It shouldn't be watching Yang Dingtian consume the fruit of gold. Could it be that he doesn't care about the golden fruit? Jian Wushuang's eyes were slightly fascinated. He looked at Yang Dingshan's back and shook his head. The value of the golden fruit is too great. The double-faced Buddha must know about the golden fruit. Logically speaking, even if it is a clone, it is impossible to watch Yang Dingtian spend it in vain outside. Definitely notify the deity to come, and with the treasures obtained, it will not be a problem to win Yang Dingtian in one fell swoop. As a result, the other party did not do so. The one in the temple is not a clone. It should be his true deity. Read for free. Chapter 64:13. Jian Wushuang took a deep breath, and a smile leaked from the corner of his mouth. He decided to help Yang Dingtian one more time, and explore the reality of the double-faced Buddha by the way. At this moment Yang Dingtian is still studying the mirror in front of him. If you want to attack the formation of the double-sided temple, you need to crack the mirror treasure first. Innate treasure. Those are the treasures used by the emperor. In the age of ancient demons, the entire sea-covering ancient domain also gave birth to 3 innate treasures. They are Ancient Demon Banner, Ancient Demon Eye, and Ancient Demon Hammer. None are mirror-shaped congenital treasures. Then there is only one possibility, which is the treasure of chaos obtained by the double-faced Buddha from chaos. It is also an innate treasure. However, the origin of the treasure is somewhat different. But for Daojun users, there is almost no difference. Because if you want to fully exert the power of the innate treasure, you need divine power. The double-faced Buddha also has supernatural power at this moment, but it is not as powerful as Yang Dingtian. But with that bit of divine power he couldn't unleash the power of the Chaos Supreme Treasure at all. Not even Yang Dingtian. The birth of a congenital treasure will shock the entire ancient world. At that time, the emperor will come to it. Here is next to Gyuding. It will definitely attract many emperors. Holy Land is okay. There are only 4 emperors in total, and each has a treasure of chaos. Even the 3 innate treasures bred in the ancient world are all in the hands of the Holy Master. But the Holy Master does not use any treasures, so most of these treasures are in the hands of the other 3 emperors. There are a lot of emperors on the side of the ancient court, and their own combat power is weak. Most of the treasures of the chrysalis are the peak treasure suits, and the emperors who have the chaos treasure are all elders of the ancient court or a certain master of the ancient court. A rising star who wants to obtain the innate treasure can only go to the chaotic void and desperately. The chaos void, which is close to the ancient world, has already conceived the innate supreme treasure, so it is difficult to conceive the chaos supreme treasure, and can only go to the deeper chaos void, or go to some big worlds that have not been conceived for a long time to find innate treasures. But that kind of newly conceived world is generally shielded by the laws of the universe, and the emperor can't find it at all. In the big worlds that can be found, there are usually emperors. At least he is also an emperor, and this kind of indigenous strongman who became the first emperor is often very powerful and has a strong divine body. In addition to the innate treasure, if you want to it, you must start with the strength of a 3rd-tier top emperor. There are not many emperors in Gyuding who can have this strength. It's not worth it to venture to another world. If you want to fight in the chaotic void, you need luck. But now, a treasure of chaos has appeared in the ancient world, and it is still in the hands of a Taoist monarch. It's not too far from Gyuding. Once the news gets out, a large number of emperors will be attracted immediately. Even the master of the ancient court will come to sit in charge. Naturally, there will be people from the Holy Land to stop them. There is not much time left for both parties. Jian Wushuang didn't help at this time, and when those emperors came over he could only stare blankly. Now he is not invincible enough to sweep the emperor. Guessing that the last trump card of the double-faced Buddha was delay, he had nothing to worry about. After helping Yang Dingtian break the treasure of chaos, he can start fighting against the double-faced Buddha in the inner hall. When he gets the treasure, It's not too late for him to run away. After making up his mind, he began to approach the mirror. Someone next to him noticed his figure and quickly reminded him, "Fellow Taoist, don't step forward to make trouble at this time. He is a 9-step true immortal. What are you doing up there? Is he dying?" For a while, many people looked over. At the same time, I also found that Jian Wushuang looked familiar, but he just couldn't get his name. Invisible and phaseless, change at will. Jian Wushuang in everyone's eyes is different. To them, Jian Wushuang is like a fellow who is both familiar and unfamiliar. Jian Wushuang didn't pay attention to these people either. He glanced at the mirror and realized that it was a domain-type chaos treasure. The internal source is estimated to be a source of change. The previous figure also came from a change, not a refraction. And attack. The attack just now was also formed by changes. Otherwise, this Chaos Supreme Treasure is invincible and can refract anything. In fact, every change will consume a lot of internal resources. If you want to break this mirror, you need to break the inner origin. This is not a big problem for him. Standing in front of the mirror, Yang Dingtian was looking carefully, but he didn't find Jian Wushuang. Obviously, he was trying to crack it. Jian Wushuang didn't care about the rightful lord, raised his hand, and a whirlwind suddenly rose. The airflow is condensed, that is the original breath. Although he has not realized the new origin now, his realm has been stuck at the peak of Mahayana. But the origin of Kendo is still easy to come by. Wan Dao gathers. Respect the sword. The origin he just condensed is the origin from the 4 directions. Condensing all the origins into one, this is the ultimate way. Then gather this power into the sword way. This is the ultimate sword way. A sword energy formed in his hand, and then he pointed out. The sword energy swept across the mirror and rushed towards the mirror. Everyone watching this scene was shocked. Is he crazy? This mirror can refract attacks, and he is still attacking the mirror so close? But this guy does have some skills. The sword energy just now is so powerful that I feel trembling. A Taoist could not help but say, even if you have the power of the Taoist monarch, you can't break this kind of treasure. Mainly this will cause trouble for Brother Yang. With Brother Yang's character, he must save this kid, and it will take a lot of time. Although everyone in the coalition army liked Jian Wushuang's sword aura just now, they were very dissatisfied with his actions. Someone is even ready to set off to take down Jian Wushuang. This is simply adding to the chaos. The moment the sword chi shot out, Yang Dingtian also found Jian Wushuang, and immediately shouted, "Get out of the way!" Seeing Jian Wushuang stunned, Yang Dingtian kicked him. Want to kick Jian Wushuang away. But when he kicked Jian Wushuang, he found that just one light kick had shattered Jian Wushuang's entire body. This. Not only the physical body was shattered, but also the original source and the breath of life disappeared. So much so that everyone in the coalition army thought that Jian Wushuang was kicked to death by Yang Dingtian. But Yang Dingtian knew that it was definitely not Jian Wushuang himself who kicked just now. But it is not an incarnation or a clone. He couldn't describe that feeling. Brother Yang played well. This kind of person who doesn't understand the general situation is simply a disaster. If you kill him, you will be killed. Don't delay the great cause. Yang Dingshan's confidant took the lead below, and the rest of them saw this and shouted to kill. But Yang Dingtian is the one to meet. I can't hold back my face more or less. Chapter 64:14. Remember New in a second. He used to look like a savior, but now he kills anyone who gets in the way with one kick. It seems that I am a little hypocritical, but there is no way to explain it. Just when he was struggling, he found that there was no sword energy reflected in the mirror. Then came the mirror shattering. A majestic breath erupted from within. But it was not an attack, but a broken breath. Boom. The huge mirror was completely shattered, leaving only a small mirror floating in the air. Needless to say, it is the body of the innate treasure. What was just now was just a field. I didn't do anything? Yang Dingtian looked surprised. The same is true for the people watching below. They didn't know what to say, and the mirror suddenly shattered. The double-faced Buddha hidden in the hall was taken aback, and suddenly opened his eyes. At this moment he was not calm, but seemed a little flustered. How is this possible? How could the domain be broken? Who did it? Countless possibilities appeared in his mind for a while, but he excluded them all. In this world, there is only the Holy Master who can destroy the Chaos Supreme Treasure domain without a sound. Could it be that he discovered me? The double-faced Buddha suddenly shook his head in a state of confusion, thinking, it's also unlikely if he found out about my existence, he would have shown up long ago. Could it be that there are also some strong outsiders hidden among those people outside? His eyes suddenly widened. In this case, it is not impossible. After a brief surprise from the outside world, they began to join forces to attack the temple formation. The situation in the hall suddenly became tense. The 4 great guardians and the 10 true immortals once again manipulated the God Destroyer formation. Palace Master, it really doesn't work, let's fight. Maybe there is still hope to escape. Yunhai Dharma Protector seemed a little anxious. But the heart is not in a hurry. He is just a puppet who is greedy for Mieshen. At this time, it is natural to show loyalty. But in the ears of the double-faced Buddha, only the word escape was heard. There is no possibility of desperate. Run? Where are you going? The double-faced Buddha sneered and stood up slowly at the same time. You didn't have to run long ago. Even if you can retreat here for thousands of years or even 1,000,000 years, you don't have time to run. Although there is a smile in the eyes, there is also a sense of sadness. I haven't seen the return of my family, and I haven't witnessed the true glory, but I will fall because of it. Some of the words of the double-faced Buddha were incomprehensible to everyone present, especially the 4 guardians. They have followed the Palace Master for the longest time. Never heard of the group of double-faced Buddha? Aren't we all humans? Moreover, when the double-faced Buddha was weak, he was just a young monk in a temple. The mortal body at the beginning reached the peak by virtue of killing and hypocrisy. Always alone. Where did the ethnic group come from? Guardian Chiefing would like to remind you. Mansion Master, you don't even have an ethnic group where your parents and wives come from. But this sentence is impossible to say, because he dare not. But someone dared. A faint thought force suddenly began to rise. He condensed from the white fireworks, and also walked out from the white flames. Should I call you a double-faced Buddha? Or a strong man from another world? The figure bathed in the white flames has no form or form, only the breath of the white flames, not his breath, as if it never existed. The figure was Jian Wushuang. After he broke the domain, he concentrated all his power on the thought power in the hall. At this time, he fully recovered and appeared in front of the double-faced Buddha. Do not. It is in front of a strong man from another world. The double-faced Buddha's eyelids twitched, not surprised by Jian Wushuang's appearance, but just surprised by Jian Wushuang's strength. He is not the group of village elders from the outside world. He is a superpower who has traveled through many great worlds. He has witnessed the destruction of thousands of worlds, and he has also witnessed the miracle of the universe. So he can understand the power of Jian Wushuang. Invisible and colorless. That is no longer the emperor. It is likely to be the Lord of the universe. Because the Lord of the universe can also be invisible and colorless in his own universe. After all, the entire universe is its own body. But Jian Wushuang is different. He is now a Mahayana monk. But because of the body of the beast, he can also remain invisible and colorless. It's just that his current physical strength is still too weak. If he can increase to a level of tens of millions of times, it will not be a problem to directly swallow the entire ancient world. At that time, even if he was still in the Mahayana stage, he was not afraid of any emperor. Even if the Lord of the universe comes, he has to stay away. Note that it is not the tribulation realm, but the Lord of the universe. Because what the beast likes to eat most is the origin of the universe. The origin of such a big world is not uncommon. To devour is also to eat the purest essence. Rather than this messy original world, the origin of the universe is required to start. But now he is more interested in this strong man from another world, because he feels an inexplicable excitement from him. That was the excitement from the 9 prison tower. Shenyang clan powerhouse. I'm curious, when did you seize the double-faced Buddha? Jian Wushuang revealed the other party's identity in one word. This made the eyes of the double-faced Buddha, who hadn't spoken yet, and was even a little fluke, burst. In a word, the other party saw through his underpants. How can we talk about this? At the same time, countless thoughts suddenly rose in his mind. Who is the opponent? Why do you know his identity? It is nothing to know that he is from another world. It can be inferred from the breath. But being able to recognize the identity of his God-Eye clan, even the Holy Master who fused the two sequences could not do it. Because he is a true God-Eye clan powerhouse. What I have practiced since I was a child is the complete mystery of the eyes. He started to practice from the first round, and now he has cultivated to the third round. At its peak, it can fight against the robbery. He himself is also an extremely strong man. He didn't put the Emperor in his eyes at all. Moreover, he is also a noble God-Eye clan powerhouse. And he is an invincible existence at the same level. But now that someone recognized his identity at a glance, with his vision, he couldn't even detect the other party's aura and identity. This is what frightened him the most. The God-Eye tribe has disappeared for a long time. Since he recovered, he has traveled more than half of the universe, but he has not found the same tribe. He kept searching, and even went to dangerous places. But no one of the same race has been found, and no one has ever been able to recognize his identity. Otherwise, it would have been researched long ago, searched most of the universe, but did not meet the same race. Now he meets a mysterious strong man, who can recognize his identity. He was beyond surprise for a moment. There is excitement deep in my heart, but also fear. Excited someone still remembers. I still remember that powerful God-Eye clan. And I can still recognize him as a strong God-Eye clan. But also fear. The fear comes from the sudden extinction of the original God-Eye clan. It must have violated some kind of rules, and was collectively exterminated by a super existence. Now that he meets a mysterious strong man who recognizes him, he is also worried about this. Chapter 64:15. I don't know if Jian Wushuang is good or bad for me. He didn't answer Jian Wushuang's words but instead asked, You know me? Do you know the God-Eye clan? In this sentence he revealed a lot of feelings. Jian Wushuang didn't expect that the other party was even eager for his answer. As for my own question just now, it seems a bit insignificant. Okay, let me change the question. Who hurt you, and why did you escape here? Also, where are all your God-Eye clan powerhouses? The strong eyes of the God-Eye tribe suddenly changed their eyes, and shouted angrily. You are really here to deal with my God-Eye tribe? I will not tell you. One day my God-Eye tribe will definitely return to this world. His tone was heartbreaking. Unfortunately, he doesn't know the inside story. If you know that your own ethnic group was killed by your own creator, I don't know if you will say that. Jian Wushuang knew that the opponent's mouth must be very hard. Since he couldn't get anything out, he simply stopped talking nonsense and shot directly. The opponent's aura was very unstable, and he was completely relying on some kind of life treasure to maintain his vitality. He just used the strength of his physical body to forcefully break through the protective shield cast by the opponent, and tore the double-faced Buddha's physical body to pieces. The opponent's true face also leaked out. It was a one-eyed humanoid beast. However, it can be regarded as a partial branch of the human race. God-Eye clan powerhouse, you are about to fall. Are you not even going to tell me your name? Jian Wushuang said proudly. Of course he will not kill the other party. If it wasn't for the 9 prison tower, he wouldn't even touch the opponent. But now that he got the 9 prison tower, his senior brother and Eye of the Colossus all begged him to deal with the God-Eye tribe, so there was no other way. The secret method of the God-Eye clan is related to the beasts of the realm. He is confident that he can practice it by himself, but since there is a shortcut, he can also help the God-Eye clan not to be destroyed. Naturally happy to be a good person, now he just wanted to know the other party's name, so he threatened. If you don't say it, then there's nothing you can do. You can only lock it in the 9 prison tower, and make another plan. Remember my name. My name is Nailwan. I am the strongest of the God-Eye clan, and I will not allow you humans to despise you. That Ilwan was not afraid of life and death at this moment, and shouted loudly. It seems to be maintaining the last glory of the Godai clan. Jian Wushuang nodded slightly and said, That Ilwan. He raised his hand to summon the 9-prison tower, and the powerful power immediately shone on that Ilwan. The power of the 9-prison tower is extremely powerful, especially when targeting the strong Godai tribe. It has a natural advantage, and it is specially designed to restrain the refining of the Godai tribe. Go in. With a wave of Jian Wushuang's hand, he suppressed that Ilwan without any effort. Before entering the 9-prison pagoda, Yiluan's eyes changed, as if he had seen the 9-prison tower, but before he could say more, he was suppressed by the 9-prison tower. There is only one space mustard left in place. Jian Wushuang was not polite. He touched his nose and put it in his arms. He also ignored the changes in the 9-prison tower, but turned his head to look at the destroyer warrior. The 4 great guardians and the 10 true immortals were already stunned by fright. Protector Yunhai and others ran out one by one, saying, Congratulations, Senior. Although what they just heard was vague, they could tell that the double-faced Buddha had been taken away. The one who was suppressed by Jian Wushuang just now was the rumored strongman of the Godai clan. Both are big secrets. If Jian Wushuang suddenly shot to silence them, they would have nothing to say. So each one is very respectful. I didn't dare to be careless at all. The double-faced Buddha was taken away, which was nothing to Jian Wushuang, and he didn't care about the matter of the Xinyan clan. Even if it gets out, he suppressed the strong Godai tribe. Is it possible that there are still people who dare to take revenge? Even if there is a strong man of the Godai clan, it will be easy for Jian Wushuang to run away. Come and grab one by one, increase yourself, what a wonderful thing. So he didn't think about what to do with these true immortals and the 4 guardians. He rubbed his eyebrows and raised his head and said, If you want to survive, don't resist. I will teleport away later, and when I get out of the secovering ancient domain, I will let you go. Naturally, Guardian Yunhai agreed first. The rest of the people didn't know who Jian Wushuang was, but seeing Guardian Yunhai and Guardian Qifeng, even Patriarch Xuehe seemed to know Jian Wushuang, so they didn't dare to doubt, and nodded in agreement. Yang Dingtian rushed in immediately. If he didn't follow Jian Wushuang, it would be a dead end. After bringing these people into the 9-prison pagoda, Jian Wushuang turned his head and glanced at the place where the double-faced Buddha crossed his legs. Yang Dingtian is coming in soon, and it is estimated that the matter of the innate treasure will spread throughout the ancient world. I have to add something to such a lively matter, and that Ilwan didn't say anything. There is no spaceship in the space mustard. I am afraid that spaceship is still in the chaotic void. I have to leave something here, so that those emperors cannot be aware of the spaceship. As for those true immortals and Taoist monarchs who knew about it, they didn't have time to escape, so naturally they didn't dare to speak out. He immediately began to arrange in the hall. From that Yiluan's ring, he found 3 silver puppets and 3 god-killing puppets, but none of the formations were there. There are also some bottles and jars. The only thing that is useful is a silvery liquid. About 19 drops. It turned out to be the divine blood of the Godai clan. Jian Wushuang's mouth curled up. This thing is not very useful to monks, but the harm is not small, because he can perform some kind of sacrificial ceremony. For example, with a drop of silver divine blood, the bloodline of a Taoist monarch can be transformed. Being able to make them false emperors, to put it bluntly, is a fake Godai clan powerhouse. According to the history of the Godai clan, no such monster was created at the beginning. Once transformed, their divine bodies have an upper limit. At the same time, there is an extremely high lower limit. 5,000 times the divine power is a very high lower limit. The peak of a world-class special life is only 5,000 times the divine power. Once transformed by the Godai clan and become a fake Godai clan powerhouse, the minimum divine power is 5,000 times. It's no wonder that there were so many strong men who were willing to serve as cows and horses for the Godai tribe. The upper limit is the pinnacle of the universe-level special life, 10,000 times the divine power. The method of replenishing divine power is also very violent and does not require cultivation. Just devour the treasures containing divine power directly. For example, the source of divine power. The Emperor's source of divine power, or the source of immortality, can replenish divine power. And they can also burn divine power, which is directly equivalent to the second-rank monk of the Divine Eye mystery. After burning, fight against the Emperor, and even have a place among the Emperor. The previous 3 silver puppets had been silent for too long, and there were no magical treasures to supplement them, so their strength was very weak. But Yang Dingtian couldn't kill them either. Because the upper limit of divine power is 10,000 times, then the divine body is 10,000 times the defense. Yang Dingtian still had nothing to do with these silver puppets. It's a pity that there is only the lowest level of silver blood, which has been diluted. I don't know how much it has changed. If there is pure cosmic blood from the God Eye race, I am afraid it can create a strong demigod. Jian Wushuang smiled calmly. Chapter 64:16. The latest website. A strong man at the level of the universe is a super strong man everywhere. Even the God Eye clan doesn't have many. The monsters I met back then escaped from this world, probably because of the souls of the God Eye clan powerhouses. It's a pity that he escaped in the wrong direction. It is estimated that after going out, he will be wiped out by the strong men of Jeshan continent soon. If you stay, there is a high probability that you will recover slowly like that Ilwan. Then he collected all of them into the 9 prison tower, and became the nourishment for him to improve the secret method of the divine eye. No matter the choice, the end is not very good. But it's better to be alive than to be dead. And that ghost-eyed brother might come back. The 9 prison pagoda just helped him with the secret magic of the divine eye, not really giving it to him. Of course he didn't want to. When he has perfected his divine eye secret technique, he will return the 9 prison pagoda to Brother Ghost Eye. At that time, he has no opinion on whether to release those god-eyed people or what. Breaking the rules of the starry sky has nothing to do with him. If you want to take care of it, the Protoss will take care of it. However, he still remembers the kindness of the God Eye tribe, and still hopes that the God Eye tribe can have a good belonging. He continued to arrange the interior of the hall, trying to arrange some seemingly eye-catching backhands. It's just that no matter how he arranges it, the double-faced Buddha will have to declare his fall today. So the things arranged are not enough to stop Yang Dingtian. Finally he produced another mustard seed, including the destroyer soldier, where are the 3 silver puppets, and some fragmentary treasures that are useless to him. The only pity is that there is no one of the famous treasures of the double-faced Buddha. There is no way. He can only change the origin of several treasures, incorporate the powerful origin of the extreme way, and forcibly raise the level of the treasures to the peak treasure. This is already the limit for him, a newcomer to refining treasures. Do it all. Now there is only a double-faced Buddha. Jian Wushuang suddenly sat cross-legged on the place where the double-faced Buddha sat cross-legged before, and his whole appearance became a double-faced Buddha. Call. He took a deep breath and stood up again. The one standing up is the main body, and the one disguised as the double-faced Buddha has become a clone. The deity was nothingness, and slowly merged into the void. The transformed double-faced Buddha remained in the double-faced temple. This is the last hand left for the double-faced Shinfu. His deity walked along the void, took one step, and came to the water lake of the double-faced shrine. The place is shrouded in mist, the air is humid, the upper part is covered with overcast clouds, and in the gloomy lake below, there are faint giants surging. The huge ancient trees lost their vitality, and were silent at the bottom of the misty lake. Huge monsters are swimming on the bottom of the water. They are lurking and catching. This place is called Hugh's Mountain. Jian Wushuang came here following the aura of Jiang and I and the others. At this time, it was hiding on the root of a big tree floating on the lake. There seemed to be silence all around. In fact, murderous ups and downs. In the diffuse mist, phantoms flash from time to time. It was a figure, so it stands out. It wasn't because the blood-colored figure had practiced the blood-colored secret technique. It was just that he was seriously injured, and his essence and blood scattered, causing the whole person's aura to turn red. He ran slowly but carefully, jumping back and forth on the lake. Always be on high alert. Even if he jumped over the root of the tree, where Jian Wushuang was, he would stop for a moment and wait for the root to stabilize before jumping away again. It's interesting. Jian Wushuang sat on the root of the tree, tapping the lake with his fingers. A void force suddenly sank to the bottom of the lake. Because the sky above the water was overcast, and the water was pitch black, only some huge figures could be seen moving in the lake. However, the breath of these figures is not strong. At most, it is the strength of the Mahayana period. It is nothing more than some strange beasts. And in the distance of those figures, a gigantic object that looked like an underwater hill suddenly trembled. Just a tiny movement made those huge monsters that were swarming and preying on the bottom of the water startled and fled in all directions. The giant monster the size of a mountain peak seemed to be attracted by some kind of breath and suddenly woke up, causing the giant monsters at the bottom of the lake to flee one by one, and even jumped out of the water directly. A crow sitting on a branch above the water was unfortunately swallowed by a beast at the bottom of the lake. However, the ferocious beast did not return to the bottom of the lake again, but picked it up on a huge bush, trembling all over. Because the mountain at the bottom of the lake started to move. At the same time, the entire lake began to tremble. The huge beast that jumped onto the bush fled away again. Like it, there are desolate beasts hundreds of feet in size. They jumped out of the water together. Start running like hell. So much so that the fleeing figure panicked. What's the situation? Seeing the huge desolate beast walking side by side with him, he was completely dumbfounded. Not a bad thing for him though. On the contrary, it is a good thing. They can escape together among wild beasts. Immediately, he stopped being cautious and ran ahead. On the other side of the lake, a group of 3 people, 2 men and 1 woman, were unscrupulously probing the atmosphere below. Sensing countless desolate beasts fleeing in the lake, they all frowned. They fell down one after another, stood on the lake, and inquired about the situation. Brother Jiuchen, didn't you say that you found out where the kid escaped here? Xiangyang rubbed his eyebrows. Since the 3 of them were thrown here by Jian Wushuang 1, they started hunting for real immortals. Now there is only 1 6-step true immortal left. After being seriously injured by the 3 of them, he fled here. But he was nowhere to be found. Jiuchen led the way. This guy has a lot of ideas, and his method of detecting breath is even more clever than Xiangyang. Jiang and I and Xiangyang followed Jiuchen to act together. Seeing that there was only 1 6-step true immortal left, and he seriously injured the other party. But he couldn't find it after arriving here. Now that the lake is in chaos and countless wild beasts are rampant, this is not a good thing for them. On the contrary, the situation became even more chaotic, making it difficult for them to catch the breath of that person. Don't disturb my feeling. I almost caught that guy's breath just now. Jiuchen looked a little impatient, closed his eyes, frowned and pinched his fingers. Looking at this picture, Xiangyang became more and more suspicious of the other party's feelings, all thanks to Meng. Just when he was about to ask another question, Jiuchen suddenly opened his eyes and said happily, I found him, at the bottom of the lake. 3,000 miles away, go quickly. After Xiangyang heard this, although he didn't quite believe the old guy, he didn't hesitate. Now he can only listen to the other party, and he can't find the injured 6-step true fairy. Hearing that it was 3,000 miles away, he was the first to set off. The speed is extremely fast. Just a dodge is thousands of miles away. Take the second step, and you are already 3,000 miles away. When he appeared, his peak fairy weapon suit suddenly exploded. Although he didn't have the source of immortality, he was able to master this set of treasures with great proficiency. Jiuchen and Jiang and I were both envious. Among them, Xiangyang is the strongest, and he can learn the fastest no matter what he learns. Mobile phone users, please browse and read. Palm reading is more convenient. Chapter 64:17. Totally exploded at the moment. The figure suddenly rushed to the bottom of the lake. The long sword in his hand reaches the bottom of the lake. But when he entered the deepest part of the lake, not only did he not find the injured 6-step true immortal, but instead saw a slowly moving behemoth, which was as big as 10,000 feet in size. He was so frightened that he trembled, and when he wanted to escape, that huge monster suddenly stretched out a touch and came towards him. Xiangyang couldn't control that much. He raised his hand and chopped it off with the sword. But his very long sword shattered instantly when it touched the tentacle. "Jiuchen, you're cheating on me." Xiangyang cursed secretly in his heart, then gave up resisting and began to run away desperately. Because the rising speed is relatively slow, I rely on the current to escape. The tentacles of the colossal monster stopped after only chasing thousands of miles away. After escaping from the range, Xiangyang was covered in cold sweat. Now there is a fear. It's 10,000 feet in size. This body is 10,000 times stronger, maybe even stronger. Didn't all the Taoists in the double-faced divine mansion go to the double-faced divine mountain? Why are there still wild beasts of the Taoist level here? Just as he was hesitating, two auras rushed towards him from afar, and they were Jiang and I and Jiuchen. As soon as Jiuchen arrived, he asked, "What happened to that breath just now?" "You still ask me, it's not the way you pointed," Xiangyang said angrily. Just when he touched his hands, an ancient aura erupted. It is said to be old, but it is not very old. It has existed for at most 100,000 years. Compared with Jian Wushuang and Xiangyang, it was just a nap time. Not very old. That must be my wrong feeling. But it is indeed the most powerful existence in the entire lake. I thought that the wild beast in this lake is the strongest but immortal, and it will never be stronger than that six-step true fairy. I didn't expect there to be a Daojun class. Jiuchen took a deep breath. Xiangyang said unhappily, "We are also unlucky. What should we do now?" Jiang and I had little right to speak in front of the two of them. They all listened to the two of them. Xiangyang has the strongest combat power, but his brain turns slowly. The important task of the strategy is still on Jiuchen. This guy may live longer than Xiangyang. After all, the Lord of Shenhua is at the level of a demigod, even stronger than Xiangyang. Jiuchen is the true spirit refined by the Lord of Divine Fire, and the years of floating are very long. What's more, the Divine Fire Palace is still prepared for Jian Wushuang. Inside there is the body of a world beast, as well as the existence of an ashes jar. When Jiuchen was first refined, it was obvious that the Lord of Shenhua had put a lot of effort into it, and he was absolutely top-notch in terms of consciousness. It does not weaken the consciousness and understanding of the human race. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a short period of more than 100 years to become a Mahayana monk. He rolled his eyes, and a new idea appeared in his mind. "You said if we kill the Taoist lord at the bottom of the water, what treasure will Jian Wushuang give us?" Jishin's tone was a little crazy. Xiangyang said disdainfully, "If you want to go to you, that's Taoist lord, unless I wait for me to control the source. Killing him is simply a whimsical thing." Jiang and I was also a little uncertain about what Jiuchen was going to do, and said, "That giant beast at the bottom of the lake moves very slowly. Although that tentacle didn't go beyond 10,000 miles, it was a huge threat to us within 10,000 miles. I can't guarantee that it's too difficult to deal with just that tentacle, and it's huge in size, so its defense must be very strong, and it's not something we can deal with at all." "Then you don't seem to know why this giant beast only attacks monks within 10,000 miles? Jiuchen asked back. No matter how slow Xiangyang's brain was, he still understood, and said in surprise, "You mean this desolate beast is trapped here?" "That's right," Jiuchen proudly said. "Go to check its breath first. Its power is only at the level of a six-step true immortal, and you said that his figure is huge, and he only chased you 10,000 miles away. So I guess he trapped at the bottom of the lake. The strength has dropped a lot. There is only one tentacle, and the power is likely to be at the level of a seven-step true immortal. We don't need to be afraid. If we kill it, it will be sent. A desolate beast the size of 10,000 feet is probably a divine beast. The value is indeed great. They have also seen the beasts of the Beastmaster sect. If it is slaughtered and refined into a demon pill, it will indeed be of great benefit to them. The key is to brush up the record and go to Jian Wushuang to ask for treasures." Xiangyang lowered his eyebrows and sneered and said, If you use the blood essence and demon pills on this desolate beast, I can only say that you know nothing about divine beasts. If you want to gain some benefits from Brother Wuxia, then let me tell you, he doesn't care about ordinary treasures at all. As long as you need them, he will give them to you. There is no need to use the record to cheat. It's ugly. Jiuchen frowned and said, "What's cheating? It's fighting." Just as the two were burying each other, a blood-colored figure suddenly flew over from a distant tree branch. Jiang and I was the first to notice, and reminded loudly, "Stop fighting, I see Xiongzhan." After speaking, the first one rushed over. Seeing this, Xiang Yang also rushed over. Jian Wushuang had specifically explained that he had to take care of Jiang and I, so no accidents would happen. Besides, Xiongzhan himself is a six-step true immortal, and Jiang and I is by no means an opponent, so he naturally wants to help him. Jiuchen was on the verge of speaking, and just about to say something more, the two people around him rushed out. "Do not." He sighed and could only follow. Xiongzhan didn't seem to see the three of them, and rushed towards the three of them. Jiang and I and Xiang Yang, who watched this scene, were taken aback for a moment, thinking that the other party was going to do their best, so they started to stop them. "Bastard, look at what is behind me, you are still shooting at me." Xiongzhan roared. Behind him is a giant python with a diameter of hundreds of feet, and a length of 10,000 feet. "Do not." Or a giant flood dragon. The moment he saw the giant dragon, Xiang Yang suddenly realized that the other's tail was very familiar. At this time, I think of that tentacle. What kind of tentacles are there? It is the tail of a giant dragon. My God, how could there be two huge wild beasts? Xiang Yang took a deep breath, and regardless of Xiongzhan's cursing, he immediately turned around and pulled Jiang and I to escape. Jiuchen in the distance seemed to be waiting for them to escape to his side before fleeing with him. I just wanted to say that the aura behind Xiongzhan is very similar to the desolate beast you met just now, but it's a pity you didn't listen. Jiuchen shook his head silently. Xiang Yang gritted his teeth angrily and said, "It's really unlucky to meet two huge wild beasts. The powerhouses of the double-faced divine palace. Didn't they all go to the double-faced divine mountain? There will be a Dao Lord, and there are two desolate beasts whose strength is at the level of a Dao Lord. So is it possible that the double-faced Buddha doesn't care about these desolate beasts?" When he was making complaints, Xiongzhan, who was fleeing together next to him, interjected. "What do you outsiders know? This is the divine beast Kijingjio, and there is a Qijing turtle underneath. Snakes are suppressing here. I didn't expect them to break the restriction at this time and escape. I am really unlucky." Please remember the first domain name of this book. The mobile version of Vertex Novels is updated the fastest website. Chapter 64:18. Indeed, he was the most unlucky here. First he was hunted down for no reason, and then fled to Hugh's Mountain, because it is rumored that the mythical beast tortoise and snake is suppressed here. He was the overlord in the early double-faced shrine. However, the rumors have been spread for tens of thousands of years, and no one takes it seriously. Even if it is really suppressed here, it will not break the restriction of the double-faced Buddha. He fled here, trying to escape by taking advantage of the terrain here. In the end, halfway through the escape, he found that countless wild beasts were fleeing. He thought it was his luck that he could escape in the chaos. But before he was happy for a while, a giant dragon appeared in front of him. Based on his appearance and the description he heard, he determined that it was the Qijing snake, one of the two overlords in the original double-faced divine mansion. Where there are Qijing snakes, there are Qijing turtles. The turtle and the snake are two great beasts. Even ordinary Taoists can't escape when they see them. Not to mention their stinky fish and rotten shrimps. It was also very desperate at this time. Fortunately, the turtle snake had just broken the restriction, and its strength was not that strong. It was devouring those wild beasts at the moment, and chased and killed them, a group of human monks, along the way. Once half of their strength is restored, they will not be able to escape. After Jiuchen and Jiang and I heard about the turtle and snake, their faces paled instantly. This time it was really dangerous. Jian Wushuang is not here, so the goal for them is not too big. Even if you can't fight, you can escape. Now that I meet Daojun, isn't it going to be over? He had also felt the huge commotion erupting from the double-faced mountain before, and thought in his heart that Jian Wushuang must not have time to get out to save them. Now I can only rely on myself. For a while, they all ran away desperately. Crazy squeezed the power in the body. Only Xiangyang seemed more and more calm. Although his brain turned slowly, after getting along with Jian Wushuang for these years, he knows the other party's heart. Throw them here, then this place will not pose much threat. The two great beasts were originally suppressed, and they have not changed for thousands of years. But when they had just chased here, the turtle and snake broke the restriction. Someone is definitely playing tricks on this. Only Jian Wushuang has this strength and leisure. If it is a stranger to Daojun, there is no need to do this at all. The key point is that the ordinary Taoist monarch cannot break the restriction of the double-faced Buddha. Thinking of this, Xiangyang secretly cursed Jian Wushuang in his heart. He didn't directly express his guess, because he also knew that Jian Wushuang was trying to temper them. Or it could be said to be tempering Jiang and I. Xiangyang himself is the master of the universe. Just follow the original path. And if there are some places that can be supplemented, he can supplement as much as possible. On the road to reconstruction, there must be no regrets. In this period, there is no need for training. What is needed are treasures and opportunities for enlightenment. It's not the feeling between life and death. As for Jiao Chun, in his opinion, it must be because Jian Wushuang got some kind of treasure in the Divine Fire Palace. So he had to keep Jiao Chun by his side, probably to repay his kindness. He also guessed right. If Jian Wushuang knows, he must praise Xiangyang. Then it was Jiang and I in the end. She was born in the mortal world. When he and Jian Wushuang fooled him into running to Dongtu, Jiang and I was originally fooled. But later he discovered that Jiang and I's mother might have something to do with Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang is a superpower among the cosmic gods, and he quietly entered this world. Maybe there are real acquaintances in this world. He is not surprised by this. Now Jian Wushuang created the turtle and snake in order to train Jiang and I. He and Jiochin are just a foil. No, I'm more like a guardian. A strange light burst out in Xiangyang's eyes. While running away quickly, he turned his head and looked behind him. A brown liquid was ejected from Qijing Shiko, which was extremely fast and mighty, but the brown liquid contained venom. You must not be careless. He adjusted his figure, dragged Jiang and I with one hand, and Jiao Chun with the other, and suddenly pushed hard, sending the two of them thousands of miles away. And he himself broke out again, and caught up with the two of them in an instant. The six-step true immortal hero fought, but someone led him, and the brown liquid fell. Although most of it was avoided, it was still stained with a trace, and his body was instantly shattered. This venom is not only corroding his body, but also corroding his origin. Ah! The pain of corrosion made Xiongzhan howl, but the instinct to escape was still there. He exploded again, directly turning into a light, burning his original source to 90%. The speed surpassed Xiangyang and others in an instant, and disappeared in an instant. The burning power is too much. Even if he can escape, it may take a long time to recover again. The key point is the speed of the explosion. The time is too short, after all. He failed to escape from Hugh's mountain, and Yuanyuan's condensed figure fell into the bottom of the lake in a bush. The other side, before Jiang and I and Jiochin had time to thank Xiangyang, they realized that Xiongzhan had disappeared in an instant, and now the Qijing snake was only targeting the three of them. Not even wild beasts devoured it. For a while, the pressure to escape was even greater. Don't look back, just run away. Xiangyang was always behind the two of them. He has much more combat experience than Jiochin and Jiang and I. I know that the more I look, the more I fear. Will affect Dao Xian. Jiang and I was still a little worried and said with concern. Senior Xiangyang, were you okay just now? They could see the brown liquid just now during the corrosion Xiong battle. It's okay. Xiangyang shook his head. But on his arm there was a brown mark. Although it was not stained with the brown liquid, its arm was corroded by the poisonous gas. Fortunately, it was only a physical injury that did not affect his speed. The three people who fled desperately did not notice at all. Deep in the bottom of the water, there was still a huge monster chasing them. Seizing the opportunity, without the three of them noticing, countless sharp bone spurs suddenly shot out from the bottom of the water. The speed is extremely fast. Even if the six-step real immortal encounters it, it cannot escape. Jushin's perception is the strongest, and he was the first to feel the threat coming. He turned around and turned his face down, just in time to see those sharp bone spurs. "No, run away." After speaking, he directly pushed Jiang and I away, and a bone spur brushed his cheek. The sharpness that erupted from the cold light shattered half of Jiao Chen's head. It was too late for Jiang and I to get used to the scene. Before she could react, she was dragged aside by Xiang Yang's arm again. 3 bone spurs flew out from her original position. As soon as she regained her composure, she saw another bone spur piercing Jiao Chen's chest. Just because Jiao Chen saved her, he had no time to turn around, and half of his head was cut off by Wuxia. His reaction was a little slower, and he was pierced into the flesh again. The breath also took a turn for the worse. Senior Jiao Chen, Jiang and I suddenly felt shocked. Both Jiao Chen and Xiang Yang were saving him just now. He was injured because he saved her. Walk. Xiang Yang glanced at Jiao Chen, with a hint of admiration in his eyes. Chapter 64-19. He knew that Jiao Chen was a true spirit, and he was extremely eager to become a human being and become a monk of the human race. But now, in order to save Jiang and I, he did not hesitate to fall into a desperate situation. But he knew better that Jian Wushuang would not let Jiao Chen fall. So he took Jiang and I and ran away again. Jiang and I struggled a little. She really wanted to do something, but when she saw that a strand of Xiang Yang's sleeve had become empty, her eyes instantly turned red. There is also a green dot in the depths of the pupil. The whole person froze immediately. Sensing Jiang and I's change, a smile leaked from the corner of Xiang Yang's mouth, and it disappeared suddenly the next moment. Because the Qijing snake behind him appeared in front of him at some point. And there are hundreds of bone spurs coming through the air from behind. Xiang Yang had no choice for a while. He could only push Jiang and I out with one hand. I lost the best chance to escape. Jiang and I live well, escape. At this moment, Xiang Yang, although there is a trace of acting, but he also wants to see how this little girl who has just met for the first time, who has just grown up, is going from a mortal emperor to a strong person. I hope that this time the other party will improve his state of mind, and after experiencing life and death, he can have some understanding of the origin. Although he knew that this was a crisis arranged by Jian Wushuang, but one day, maybe he would do the same. Desperate to save lives. It depends on who is being saved. If Xing Luo was pursuing him at that time, he would have done so. At this moment, a powerful aura suddenly rose from Xiang Yang's body, and his whole body burst into the wind, clenched his fists with both hands and roared, and rushed towards the Qijing snake head-on. Looking at the desperate Xiang Yang, the green dots in Jiang Ni's eyes suddenly became bigger, filled her entire pupil. The green dot turned into a sword. At this moment, she stopped and held the Excalibur upside down, trembling all over. A powerful energy filled her whole body. She wanted to be stronger than ever before. It was an endless drive. Only when the monk is unable to recover, will the faith in his heart become stronger. This is the case with Jiang and I now. I used to think about step by step. This time, Jian Wushuang was thrown into the double-faced god's mansion to hunt down the real immortal. She went through battles again and again, and because of the care of Xiang Yang and Jiao Chen, she didn't feel too much pressure. What I think about in my heart is to make up for some deficiencies in the next retreat. Never thought about where to go. But now there is. She has a purpose. She wants to be strong, so strong that she is not a threat. Feeling the disappearance of Jiao Chen's aura, and seeing Xiang Yang desperately broken, her whole body was corroded by the brown venom. That roar of pain ignited the way of the strong in her heart. The sword in his hand turned green at some point. It is the breath of life. The sword of life. This is the sword technique that Jian Wushuang taught Jiang and I. Contains 1/1000th of the mysteries of his sword of life. Originally, according to Jiang Ni's talent, it took 1,000 years to understand it, but now it takes 100 years to fully grasp it. Regardless of the probability of 1 in a billion, once the mastery is achieved, there is only one last step left before the ultimate swordsmanship. The last step is also the easiest step. Jian Wushuang can still point her out, and it is not difficult to succeed at all. What is difficult is the cutting of life. After mastering the profound meaning, one has to cut out its meaning. Jian Wushuang, who was hiding on the tree root, was shouting from the bottom of his heart, "Cut it out, cut it out!" Xiang Yang, who was tortured by the venom, was also shouting. But he was scolding Jian Wushuang. Jiang and I took a deep breath. She did not follow what Xiang Yang said to run away, but prepared to go all out. When Jian Wushuang taught her this ray of sword intent, she said that once she mastered and cut out the sword, it would be enough to kill Dao Lord. Because this is the sword of life. Jiang and I has Jiang Shang's blood in his body, and is most sensitive to the power of life. There is also the root of life in the body. It is most suitable for practicing the sword of life. As long as Jiang and I walks down this road and reaches the peak, even though he does not have the source of the extreme sword of Jian Wushuang, he can rely on the source of the ultimate sword and cultivate to the perfection of the sword of life, and he can kill the universe gods below 7 stars. Not everyone can learn Jian Wushuang's 9 swords of the starry sky. What the sword of life needs is the power of life plus the ultimate kendo, and the origin of the starry sky. Jiang and I has the first 2, and it is already very good to be able to exert half of the original power of the sword of life. In Jian Wushuang's view, the core of the sword of life is life. On the contrary, the way of the sword is somewhat of an auxiliary meaning. This is the greatest help to Jiang and I, because Jiang Ni's talent is the way of life. Kendo is acquired. This is also the reason why he taught her this sword. Now let's see if Jiang and I can cut this sword. When the trembling hands are no longer trembling, when the sword in your hand is no longer humming, the whole world seemed to be quiet, and Jiang Ni's eyes turned green completely. In her eyes, the life of the whole world was under her sword. Swing. Kill everything. Coupled with her original belief, she didn't hesitate anymore at this moment. She raised her hand, held the sword and slashed in one go. The mighty green sword energy swept across millions of miles around. If the powerful movement was not blocked by Jian Wushuang, it would probably alarm Yang Dingtian, and the others calm. Jiang Ni's sword still came out, and it exceeded Jian Wushuang's expectations. Stronger than he expected, it has reached the level where it can kill the top Taoist monarch. Although the 2 great beasts cannot be killed, it is not a problem to repel them if they are seriously injured. The sword energy is overwhelming, and with the true meaning of life, it penetrates the 2 great beasts. Ow! A mournful howl ended the battle. Xiang Yang's body has disappeared. The 2 great beasts sank to the bottom of the lake. The whole world fell silent, leaving Jiang and I alone. The rigorous and vigorous face suddenly changed, and the moment she lost her opponent, she suddenly lost in her heart, because she felt that both Xiang Yang and Jiu Chen had fallen. They all died because of saving her. Sadness welled up in my heart, and the green in my eyes faded, replaced by sad, crystal-clear tears. At this moment, Jiang and I is just a helpless little girl, crying pear blossoms with rain. She really wanted to call out, call her own mother, call Jian Wushuang, call Jiu Chen and Xiang Yang. In the distance, there were 3 figures watching Jiang and I. One of the old men looked like a man in black with a stern face, but he was a little worried. Jian Wushuang, will you hurt her too much by doing this? Jiang and I, this little girl, has only been around for more than 100 years since she was born, and she still has a lot of shortcomings in her character. Xiang Yang also felt that Jian Wushuang was a bit harsh and said, sometimes if you want to train younger generations, you can't rush it. For more than 100 years, 90% of the time has been spent in retreat and practice. The experience of the world is too poor, so her character has not changed. If I don't plan, she will suffer more in the future. Jian Wushuang said indifferently rode. Chapter 64:20. This time, He forced Jiang and I to let the other party understand what path he was going to take. It is the road of the strong. The strong are alone. It's impossible to have someone around to protect her all the time. The last time I parted from my family was with Jiang Shang. But at that time, Jiang and I was too young to understand why they separated. In fact, in the final analysis, it is because of insufficient strength. If your strength is strong enough, why would Jiang Shang leave? Although Jian Wushuang didn't know why Jiang Shang left the Red Eye realm and was separated from Jiang and I for such a long time, he still told him not to look for her. But he understood that Jiang Shang's strength was not enough. The Tao heart that Jiang and I cultivated later was completely dependent on his mother, Jiang Shang. That was like her motivation to move forward. This is not acceptable. When Jiang Shang is found someday, Jiang and I's heart will also be dissipated. Therefore, before Jiang and I found Jiang Shang, he had to reshape the other party's character. Saving the mother is just a sideline. There are more important tasks waiting for her. The motivation to practice in the early stage is indeed very important with family affection. It was the same with Jian Wushuang back then. Even now, he still has the impetus of this master-student relationship. But the greater belief is still the strong. Be the strongest. This is the way of Jian Wushuang. He knows better than anyone how to cultivate strong people. Training Jiang and I now is just using his own opinion. Although many people may not understand why Jiang and I has to bear so much. Some of the reasons come from Jian Wushuang's debt to Jiang Shang. Another part of the reason is that Jiang and I will carry a lot of things in the future. Naturally, Huiking's strength needless to say, and his daughter naturally cannot be weak. It is right to take the path of the strong. The future world is so confusing that even the cosmic god may perish, let alone the weak. So go stronger. And Jiang Shang, even he couldn't tell what role she was in this world, and she was obviously in trouble. Jiang and I has two parents, so she naturally works hard. Rescue the mother, break through this world, go to the realm god continent, and help the mother reunite with the father. It's also a motivator. It's just that telling Jiang and I now may backfire. Because Jiang and I and Hui Qing don't have any friendship at all. They only have blood. So I can't speak. It's not too late to talk when the time comes. Jiang and I's performance just now made him very satisfied. Although his mood was chaotic, but because of the outbreak in the desperate situation, he had reached the point of touching the source. It is not far from the ultimate kendo. He still needs to be adjusted slowly in the follow-up. Okay, let's go. I will leave a mark on Jiang and I. She will be fine. After Jian Wushuang finished speaking, he led Xiang Yang and Jiuchen slowly into the void. As for Jiang and I, she will have her own way. You shouldn't be fooling around with him. With him there is never any danger. And once Jiang and I knew that Xiang Yang and Jiuchen hadn't fallen, not only would his mood not recover, but his mood would be broken even more. It's better to take this opportunity and leave Jiang and I to go out alone. Guiding the other party secretly is definitely better than staying by your side. Because the current Jiang and I has passed the explosive period, the understanding he needs. An understanding cannot be obtained with just a few pointers. And even if enlightenment comes, it is because of external reasons, which will weaken people's thoughts. Only constant stimulation can stimulate people's potential. Xiang Yang is different from Jiuchen. One of them is a superpower among the lords of the universe, not far from the god of the universe. And Jiuchen is a true spirit refined by a demigod powerhouse, a special life with strong mind power at the peak, and a special life body, with a cosmic peak in the physical body. In addition, he has the complete inheritance of the Lord of Shenhua in his mind. Nature doesn't take too many risks. As long as they are given treasures, it is estimated that it will not be a problem for these two people to cultivate to the Lord of the universe in one go. This time he received the goods well, and most of the treasures he got were given to the flesh body. His physical body is in the Mahayana stage, and his peak life level is about 2 million times. It cannot be tolerated any further. It's not that the soul can't bear it, but that this realm can't bear it. Going further up requires a strong source of auxiliary left. In other words, Jian Wushuang needs to become an immortal in order to completely break through 2 million times his physical level. At that time, it will not be a short burst of strength, but a permanent strength. If the level of the physical body exceeds 5 million times, it needs the blessing of the divine body. These are specific requirements. It cannot be changed. No matter how many treasures are put into it now, it can't be improved. Simply stay in this state. The rest of the treasures were given to Xiang Yang and Jiuchen, allowing them to enter the immortal level earlier. At that time, relying on the treasures to pile up, the two of them can be piled up to the Taoist consummation. If the rest are in harmony, there is nothing he can do. At that time, we still need to see the good fortune of the two. It's not that they are worried that they will fail, but that they will be stuck for a long time. Forget it, it's not the time to think about them, I'm stuck now. Jian Wushuang shook his head helplessly. His speed through the void is very fast. In a quarter of an hour, Yu reads www. Left the double-faced divine palace. After leaving the double-faced divine mansion, he did not leave the overlying sea ancient region directly, but went to the Temple of Heaven City. He has captured a strong man of the God-Eye clan, or a powerhouse of the God-Eye clan, who has practiced the secret method of God's Eye to the third turn. So he has to study it carefully. As soon as he entered the Temple of Heaven, he felt several powerful auras in the teleportation array in the city. Originally, I was thinking of retreating in the Temple of Heaven for a period of time, but I didn't expect that when I arrived at the Temple of Heaven, I realized that two forces had come. One side is the powerhouse of Holy Land, and the other side is the powerhouse of Gyuding. Teleport outside the array. When the two sides met, they did not speak except for bursting out of breath. After just looking at each other, they rushed towards the direction of the double-faced divine palace together. Obviously for that chaos supreme treasure. The treasure Jian Wushuang did not take it away. Instead, they stayed at the double-faced God Mountain. He doesn't care about that baby either. He didn't care about the gadgets anymore, except for the spaceship. After all, this time the receipt is not small. Got a lot of babies. After the strong men from both sides left, he went to a treasure pavilion and sold all the useless gadgets. 3 billion immortal crystals were exchanged, and a batch of original power was obtained. These things are for Xiang Yang and Jiuchen. There are also 2 sets of peak treasures. As long as these 2 people become Daojun consummation, cooperate with these treasures, and the complete divine eye inheritance he imparted, their combat power will never be inferior to the ultimate Daojun. If something happens later, I can help him. After finishing these, he went to the Holy Mountain. This time he changed his appearance and breath. The appearance is similar to before, but the aura has already reached the level of a 9-step true immortal. Therefore, the receptionist is also the 7-step immortal from the top of the mountain. Chapter 64-23. The third original picture is too profound. If you comprehend it forcibly, I don't know how many years it will take. It's a waste of time. If you keep comprehending it, you have to follow it up yourself. Jian Wushuang put away the metal plate and began to comprehend the origin. After comprehending the source of his extreme path and ultimate sword path again, he let out a long breath. Next he's going to make a bold move. Sacrifice. He wants to sacrifice the original source, then walk out of a disordered source again. Originally, he was reluctant to part with his pole and sword. Ji Dao is equivalent to Wan Dao, and Sword Dao is the number 1 in Wan Dao. If this is all sacrificed, it is equivalent to chopping off both legs and hands. If you don't realize the disordered origin of your satisfaction by then, it's equivalent to giving yourself a knife and cutting off all your combat power. Jian Wushuang has absolute confidence in himself, so he dared to be so daring. Let's start. The seedlings of the 2 origins rose from within him. These 2 origins have been with him for too long, but now he wants to sacrifice them, and he has a lot of reluctance in his heart. But if the old ones don't go, the new ones won't come. I didn't expect that I would also go to the Shura field, and I have to make a choice. Jian Wushuang smiled wryly. The choice this time did not affect his Dao heart. Thoughts arise. The dark golden ball in the sea of consciousness suddenly vibrated. The pattern of the baby above also began to change. Boom! In the next moment, a powerful force instantly destroyed the origin of Ji Dao and Sword Dao. Jian Wushuang also fainted directly. The two original sources were all shattered, and then absorbed by the dark golden ball. And finally in Jian Wushuang's body, there was no trace of the source's breath. The power of life, everything, death, space, time and space, and even the starry sky included in the extreme path is gone. The same goes for Kendo. Now in his mind, only the original sword technique, without the original sword intent. Everything is gone. Sacrificed everything. Jian Wushuang was heartbroken, but he still gritted his teeth and endured it. While dizzy, the dark golden ball in his sea of consciousness was very active. This represents his sensitivity to the source of disorder. The next practice is the most critical moment. He must carefully explore the source of disorder. In the 10 years after Dao's sacrifice, he finally got the promise of the origin of disorder. At this time, he also realized the power of disorder from disorder. This power is not the former power of disorder. It is the power that really comes from the land of disorder. The power of disorder that he used in the starry sky back then actually came from the starry sky, not from disorder. This is the same as when he uses the power of the stars in time and space. In fact, it also comes from the power of the stars mixed in time and space. That kind of power is not pure after all. This is also the reason why Cosmic God does not use the power of time and space. Because the of the universe is not the of time and space. The Cosmic God can exert the divine power of the universe to the most perfect level. The same is true for the time and space gods. If the power is exchanged, or if they all cultivate the strongest power of the starry sky, the actual combat power displayed will not increase because of this, but will become weaker. This is one of the reasons why the original source should be sacrificed. If he followed the original path, Jian Wushuang could go to the extreme of the starry sky. In the starry sky can also become super strong. But where can it go in the end? Perhaps at the level of the Protoss envoy. It is already very good. The god of time and space is a difficulty. Even if the starry sky god in the back can step over, he has reached the limit of the starry sky. Never be able to surpass the Protoss, and that god king. Not the strongest after all. The old way is true for others. But for him, the disciple chosen by teacher Xianyi, he went wrong. He needs to come out stronger. The road beyond the stars. The upper limit is definitely not just the Protoss. He must be strong enough to open up the starry sky. That is the real powerhouse. The source has reached a bottleneck again. It's time to comprehend the third source map. Jian Wushuang's heart moved, and he directly summoned the third source map. This time when I enlighten, there was no pressure at all. Although not as good as the two major patterns of life and soul. But the speed is faster than before. In the end, it only took 5,100 years to fully understand it. For him, this time was beyond expectations. After all, he hasn't mastered the origin of disorder. And it's pretty good to be able to comprehend the third picture of the head 5,000 years ago. After fully penetrating the 3 metal plates, he took them out one by one. Only then did he have time to study the material of the metal plates, and some connections above them. To him this thing is the most precious thing. Without the metal plate, he didn't know when he would have to wait, until he wanted to master the source of disorder. Unfortunately, he was still looking for opportunities everywhere. And it turned out that the opportunities were by his side. It was dark under the lamp. But also blame him for being careless. If he had obtained the first metal plate earlier, he would not have wasted so long. It took him tens of thousands of years to retreat this time. Fortunately, during the second renewal, he directly lost 100 million immortal crystals, and bought the Dongfu at a one-off price. At that time, he didn't have time to ask the other party how much money, directly spent the money, and built a permanent cave. In 10,000 years, he penetrated the 3 metal plates and mastered the new power of disorder. It is equivalent to being recognized by the source of disorder. And the next step is to master the source of disorder. Only by mastering the source of disorder can he possess infinite power of disorder. In the following time, he split a consciousness to study the 3 metal plates. with the lessons learned from last time. This time he is not willing to let go of any details. If there is something left on the metal plate, if he misses it, it will be a big loss. For this reason, he allocated half of his consciousness to study the metal plate. The other half is to continue to comprehend the origin of disorder. From nothing to something, 10,000 years is fast enough. After retreating again for 100 years, he encountered a bottleneck on the path of the origin of disorder. But there was a major breakthrough on the metal plate. The two consciousnesses merged into one. There were 3 metal plates floating in front of Jian Wushuang's eyes, with joy on his brows. In the past 100 years, he has completely inspected the metal plate, and he has not let go of even the damage of particle size. At last he found a new discovery. In fact, this discovery is also an afterthought. The 3 metal plates are stacked together, and the lines on the top are repeated and chaotic, showing the unique characters of the God Eye tribe. Jian Wushuang couldn't help but secretly scolded his Ghost Eye brother. It's too ghostly. It was hidden so deeply. If he hadn't absorbed that Yiluan's memory and learned all the characters of the Xinyan tribe, including the ancient characters of the first generation, it would have been hard to find. After translating all the above words, Jian Wushuang's thoughts were running at high speed. After reading it hundreds of millions of times in a day, without any hidden words, he began to taste the words left by Brother Ghost Eye. Chapter 64-24. Junior brother, when you read this letter, you must have realized the source of disorder. Senior brother must first congratulate you for realizing the source of disorder. Junior brother has already taken the first step, and I am already enjoying the future meet with the younger brother. Jian Wushuang's heart ached after reading the previous paragraph, thinking that his senior brother was plotting against his fellow clan to help him. But now he has not realized the origin of disorder, and felt a little guilty for senior brother Ghost Eye. The second paragraph. I don't know what level of the source of disorder the younger brother realized, but there is a high probability that the younger brother realized the source of disorder in the third Xuani code. So the source of the disorder that the younger brother realized is very likely. It is the source of high-level beasts, although it is still a little short of me, but I must be very talented, and I will be able to make up for it in the future. This sentence seemed a bit shameless, so that the guilt that Jian Wushuang had just felt disappeared. I didn't expect my senior brother to be quite conceited. Jian Wushuang smiled slightly, and his heart was no longer heavy. Then came the third paragraph. Brother Guiyan explained the level of Yuan to him. It's about the same as in the starry sky. No. It's that the starry sky is similar to the origin of the beasts. The original classification of disordered land is very simple and crude. Elementary, intermediate, advanced, top, peak, king. The primary source of the world beast. This is the weakest. In the land of disorder, the source of disorder mastered by the weakest beast is the elementary source. Although the beasts who master this kind of origin can call wind and rain in the disordered land, they can summon their own Tao at will, and within their own domain, they can have whatever they want. But compared with the controller of the origin of the high-level beasts, it is not even a little bit worse. For example, 2 world beasts. One is the lower source and one is the higher source. There is an essential difference in the way of swords they condense. Elementary origin beasts may only be able to summon ordinary swordsmanship at the 5th rank level. However, Jiesho, who is a high-level source, can summon 3rd rank or even 2nd rank swordsmanship. The gap is also reflected in this respect. Brother Guiyan said he was stronger than him, probably the origin of the top beasts. According to his understanding of the origin of Morosa, it can be distinguished that the origin of Morosa is a higher origin. Only the high-level origin, the strength can swallow the top spacetime gods, and even threaten the starry sky gods. The top level and original world beasts are probably comparable to the Protoss. Presumably from this, it can be judged that Brother Guiyan's strength should be at the Protoss level. Coupled with the strength of Teacher Xuani, and with the treasure in his body, Xingling believes in the strength of senior brother Ghost Eye more than his own senior brother Ghost Eye. That is to say, I will at least have the combat power of the Protoss in the future. Jian Wushuang licked the corner of his mouth. There was inexplicable excitement in his heart. The power of Protoss has always been what he longed for. If he can reach the level of the Protoss, he will definitely be very excited, if he doesn't say he is satisfied. Another point is Xianyi Jing. The metal plate is called Xianyi Jing, and the initials should be something left by teacher Xianyi. It is estimated that it is a unique baby. Brother Ghost Eye's subsequent words, apart from some bragging about disorderly land, are to explain that he must improve his strength as soon as possible. Finally, I reminded you to treat the God-eyed people well. He kept this in mind. If you can't kill him, you will never kill him. As long as he is not unforgiving, he will not kill. Besides, he still wants to bring in those God-eyed people to open up a higher level. At that time, there will be Xianyi Jing again, which can improve one's understanding of the origin. The first 3 volumes of Xuanyi Jing. The first part of Shenwuming is equivalent to the elementary source of enlightenment. The second part is comprehensible, which is equivalent to the middle source. After completing the third part, if you can realize the source of disorder, it is the higher source. Jian Wushuang has not realized the origin yet. I was a little impatient. But now there is no rush. The fourth Xianyi Jing corresponds to the origin of the top beasts. The fifth Xuanyi Jing corresponds to the origin of the peak beasts. The sixth part corresponds to the origin of the world beast king. Obviously, the further back the stronger. It is also the hardest. From the bottom of his heart, he admired that ghost-eyed brother. Back then, no one gave Brother Ghost Eye the 9 prison towers. Even the complete Xuanyi Jing, without the blessing of the Divine Eye Mystery technique, it would be even more difficult to realize the origin of the top beasts. In that era, it should be Brother Guoyan, who first gnawed at Baba's cultivation Xuanyi Jing, and practiced to the 4th volume to realize the origin of disorder. Later, he continued to practice until the 9th part, and after becoming a super existence, he created the great feat of Divine Eye Mystery, because the mystical eye technique is equivalent to a simple Zhuanyijing. Jian Wushuang has the secret art of divine eyes. Even if he doesn't have the 9 hell tower, he can still go up to it, and then practice Zhuanyijing. Not to mention that now I have directly given up the time to practice the mystic art of the divine eye, and directly comprehended the Xuanyi Jing. If he didn't have the mystic eye technique, it would take hundreds of years for him to comprehend the Xuanyi Jing for the first part, and he dared not think about it later. Thinking of this, he didn't even know how Brother Guoyan got through cultivation. The pain and difficulty involved are beyond imagination. He is now more like a monk picking fruit. It seems that the road ahead needs to be walked step by oneself, but in fact, it has been arranged and understood by others. How to go. All of them have been deliberated one by one, and now there is a mystic eye technique to help him practice Zhuanyijing. It can be said that Tianhu started. TSK, I don't know why, but after having a clue, I feel a little lost. Jian Wushuang sighed helplessly. When he had no clue, he was more anxious than anyone else, trying to find the way to get started. As a result, it has now been recognized by the origin of the beasts. According to his speculation, the 4th or 5th Xuanyi Jing can help him grasp the origin of disorder. And it is the origin of top-notch beasts. If the 5th book of Xuanyi masters the origin of disorder, then the origin mastered is the origin of the peak realm beast. If he can complete the first 6 steps of Xuanyi Jing, then he will be able to grasp the origin of the king of the world beast. He doesn't know about the realm beast king now, but if you count it from the 12 star spirits, and the king of gods in the starry sky. First of all, the origin of Morosa's high-level beasts is not the opponent of the Protoss. Then the world beasts of the origin of the top world beasts may be comparable to the Protoss, but they are not completely invincible. According to his speculation, the origin of the Protoss comes from the starry sky. When the starry sky was opened up, there were too many fused realm beasts. Among them, the king of gods is the most powerful. He may be a super strong world beast who has mastered the origin of the king of world beasts. Then there is the great priest, whose origin should be equivalent to the origin of the peak world beast. The origins of the remaining 11 Protoss are comparable to the top origins. The words of the giant Protoss revealed guilt towards Ghost Eye, And there was also a hint of pride, obviously comparable to himself, or even surpassed himself. Otherwise, the giant god Protoss would not have paid so much attention to it. Chapter 64:25. According to his speculation, the King of Gods has mastered the origin of the King of Beasts. If he wants to become number one in the starry sky, he must first grasp the origin of the King of Beasts in the world. In that battle, although my memory was erased, I saw the picture of losing. Jian Wushuang clenched his fist and said firmly, "No matter what, I will definitely win next time." Entering this world to rebuild is like entering the starry sky to rebuild after failing in disorderly land. The two have an indescribable connection. But he will seize the perfect opportunity. He wants to be the strongest. The origin of high-level beasts? It is indeed very strong. After mastering it and cultivating to the peak, it can become an existence like Morosa. But Jian Wushuang had seen someone more powerful than Morosa before. So he naturally looked down on him. The Protoss is not the target, and neither is the God King. What he has to do is go above and beyond. Even surpass his own teacher Xian Yi. Only in this way can he win everything. Now that I have comprehended the third Xuanyi Jing, I am only one step away from mastering the origin of disorder. Next time I comprehend the Xuanyi Jing, I am afraid that I will master it unconsciously. He began to worry about the time to practice the fourth Xuanyi Jing. If the time comes to grasp the origin of the top beasts in the Epiphany, it will be a big loss. So he had to prepare in advance. This is the card level. He still has experience. If you want to be strong, it must be ruthless. If you want to suppress yourself, you must first destroy yourself. Jian Wushuang took a deep breath. He was never afraid of Biruo. Without any hesitation, he completely wiped out the ray of disordered power that he had finally grasped. Sacrifice. Sacrifice it clean. Of course, this is far from enough. And it doesn't mean that being ruthless enough will make you stronger. In addition to the power of disorder that he mastered, he also began to comprehend the various rules in disorder. Nuanced. From one main road, numerous branch lines branched off. The difficulty of mastering the source has also been raised several levels. After doing all this, he was relieved. After taking a long breath, he suddenly felt something was wrong. He is still too early to open the fourth floor. For the fourth turn of the mystical eye technique, it would take millions or even tens of millions of years for him to comprehend it through comprehension. Because of the 9-prism pagoda, he didn't need to comprehend the secret technique of the divine eye. But you have to catch the strong ones of the God Eye clan. To open the fourth floor, one needs a strong person from the God Eye family who has practiced the mystic eye art to reach the fourth rank. However, he also found the other two paths from Brother Guillen's words. First, we still need to catch the strong ones of the God Eye tribe, but the requirements are not so high. Opening the fourth floor and suppressing 100 monks of the God Eye tribe who have perfected the mystic art of God's eyes can also open the fourth floor. That is to say, he will suppress 100 of the God Eye clan powerhouses like Nailwan. This request, he took a look at it and felt that there was not much hope. With his current strength, it is impossible. And he just sacrificed his power of disorder. This is his only powerful means of early combat. For the card level, he was sacrificed. It's nothing after all to be stronger. But there is no need to sacrifice so early. When he opens the fourth layer, it's not too late to sacrifice his power of disorder. Jian Wushuang was suddenly annoyed. Now his strength does not have the power of disorder, and it is okay to deal with the emperor. But people like the Holy Lord and the Lord of Gyuding are definitely not opponents. After all, he is only at the peak of Mahayana, and if he has the power of disorder, he can still fight. As a result, now that the power of disorder is gone, he is at most comparable to a fourth-order emperor. In the Mahayana period, he was comparable to a fourth-order emperor. Tell it, no one will believe it. But for the current Jian Wushuang, this strength is too weak. It's unrealistic to deal with the God Eye tribe, and I can't find the rest of the God Eye tribe. Without a spaceship, it is difficult for me to get out of the ancient world with my speed alone. How can I get out of the universe? Jian Wushuang shook his head. In fact, he still has another way, which is to cultivate his own power. Cultivate a force that specifically targets the God Eye clan. Or specially cultivate an organization to deal with monks who practice the mystic technique of the divine eye. The second way senior brother Guoyan left him was to suppress those strong people who practice the mystic technique of the divine eye. But catch more, because the mystic eye technique practiced by these people is not pure. The first 5 turns are fine. Most of the world can be cultivated to perfection, except for the ancient world. After all, there is only one holy place to pass the complete first 5 rounds. Many people say that it is the mystic eye technique cultivated from the sequence inheritance. It's too messy. I don't know how many strong people who practice the mystic eye technique will be caught. At least in the entire ancient world, there are only 4 emperors who have practiced the mystic eye technique to the second turn. 3 of them are half-baked. Even with the addition of those Tao lords, the entire ancient world has been packaged and suppressed, and they are not as good as Na Ilwan. This road can wait for him to make plans when he travels through the universe. Now he still wants to pry some information from that Ilwan, so as to have a direction, or the situation within the God Eye clan. He always had to be a little bit prepared. In the end, it's your own problem. His strength is not enough. If he wants to master the origin of the Beast King, he has to open the 6th floor of the 9 prison tower before mastering the origin. That is to say, we need a God Eye cultivator who has practiced the secret technique of the divine eye to the 6th rank, not to mention the 6th rank. Now it is a monk of the God Eye tribe who has cultivated to the 3rd rank. Can't beat it. No. He couldn't beat the second turn. In other words, picking up that 1 won made him a windfall. The God-eyed tribe is stronger than ordinary tribes in cultivating the secret method of God Eye. The first turn is perfect, and the Taoist is invincible, comparable to the ultimate Taoist. The second round of cultivation is complete, the strongest among the emperors, the weakest is the 4th level combat power, and the strongest is about the 6th level emperor. The third round of cultivation is complete, and it is the ultimate powerhouse, and that Ilwan is at this level. The 4th round of practice is complete, corresponding to the robbery. The 5th turn is the Lord of the Universe. Rank 6 is estimated to correspond to the Master of the Universe in the realm of 6 robbers. And Jian Wushuang is just a Mahayana stage who has not mastered the origin. How can he fight the God Eye clan powerhouse who is the Master of the Universe in the 6 tribulations realm? Jian Wushuang looked down at what he had. He has the 9 prison tower, a sharp weapon to suppress the God Eye race. If the strength is equal, he can hang and beat any strong God Eye clan with the help of the 9 prison tower. But now the gap in strength is too great, and the advantage of the 9 prison tower has been pulled away by this gap. In addition to the 9 prison tower, it is the physical body of his world leader, and the soul will of the world beast. These two are also fake. It can sweep against Daojun, but it is a bit difficult to deal with emperors below the 4th rank. Taking advantage of the time now, he has to redo the matter of improving combat power for himself. At present, there are not many treasures on him, and all the swordsmanship and poles are sacrificed. The power of disorder is gone. Only the advantages of the body and soul willpower remain. Flesh body. Jian Wushuang blinked. This is the power of mortals. No matter how powerful it is useless. Later, it is still useful to help the divine body. Soul willpower. Chapter 64-26. This is tricky. The power of my soul is stronger than that of the Emperor, and even the Lord of the Universe. I can create a secret method of the soul, and get a soul-like innate treasure along the way. At least it can burst out the power of the top Emperor. Jian Wushuang immediately began to search for the soul secret method that he practiced at the beginning. There is no suitable secret method for the moment, so I started to separate an idea to create a universe-level soul-like secret method. He wants to show his strengths. After practicing the 3 Xuanyi Jing, he is not only stronger in origin, but also stronger in body and soul. Now there is still the physical body that needs to be reconsidered. At this moment, he thought of the divine blood he had obtained. Take out a drop of silver blood. Reminiscent of your own intangibility and phaselessness, you can change it at will. Naturally, it can also transform into a strong God-Eye clan. Variety. Swish. He transformed into a God-Eye tribe. It has to be said that the God-Eye tribe is a bit like the world beast itself. They both have single eyes. Thinking of the appearance of the giant Protoss, it looks like the single eye of a world beast. It is no loss that he is the creator of the God-Eye clan. He probably created the God-Eye clan according to his own ideas. The appearance and abilities are all customized by himself. Jian Wushuang smiled. Started to study this silver blood. What's in this blood? Jian Wushuang studied for a long time and didn't see any clue. But at this time, that Ilwan in the first world suddenly sent him a sound transmission, which made him stop. Is this guy thinking about it? Jian Wushuang smiled calmly. After being cold to the other party for so long, I don't know what surprises can be brought to him. The first layer of the world. In the middle of the barren land. That Luan is nourishing his body relying on an incomplete treasure. He found that after entering here, his injuries continued to recover. But the combat power is suppressed. It was such a feeling that he couldn't tell what it was like. Just like what Jian Wushuang said to him earlier. Swish. Jian Wushuang's figure appeared in the distance and walked over. When he came close, he tilted his head and glanced at the incomplete treasure floating behind Ilwan, and said in surprise, "It turned out to be an incomplete treasure of the universe, and you have so many good things on you." When Na Ilwan saw him appear, he was surprised and speechless, and his eyes were a little dull. Jian Wushuang didn't realize that there was something wrong for a while, and went around to look around. "Why are you so nervous? You didn't ask me to come here." That Yilyuan's eyes were terrified, and his language was a bit awkward and said, You are also a God-Eyed clan." This sentence amused Jian Wushuang. Only then did he realize that after he transformed into a God-Eye tribe, he forgot to change back. In addition, I have been practicing alone for 10,000 years, and I have not paid attention to the appearance. And sometimes I even practice in the form of a beast. Only then did I wake up, and I made a mistake. But he took the opportunity to make a mistake and said, "Hee, I know so many secrets of the God-Eye clan. If I am not a God-Eye clan, you should be surprised. But why do you want to suppress the same race? Are you the creator of our God-Eye race?" That Ilwan seemed to have grasped the shocking secrets of his own race. Jian Wushuang pretended to be deep and said, "I am different from him." After speaking, he shook his head again, and sat on the side without taking the initiative to talk. "By the way, what did you call me for?" "I'm just trying to see if you've been here all this time." Na Ilwan smiled wryly. Hearing that the other party was fine, Jian Wushuang turned around and pretended to leave. Na Ilwan was a little panicked this time. He is now more curious about his own group than Jian Wushuang's heart. Etc. Jian Wushuang raised the corner of his mouth, turned around slowly and said, "Why? Do you think I have time to talk nonsense with you? Don't you think you know the whereabouts of the other God-Eye clan?" Na Ilwan asked tentatively. This time it was Jian Wushuang's turn to be interested. He really wanted to know, even if he wasn't an opponent. At least he had to know where the strong ones of the God-Eye tribe were, what their strength was, and what their internal structure was like. "Tell me, how do you want me to exchange?" Jian Wushuang stopped, found a place and sat down. "Pretend to make a deal." After turning his eyes around, Ilwan said, "I want to know your identity. Why did you suppress the God-Eye tribe? Could it be that you have violated the supreme rule?" "You are right, you have violated the supreme rule," Jian Wushuang admitted without any concealment. This made Na Ilwan a little overwhelmed. Obviously he didn't believe it. Jian Wushuang didn't have the opportunity for the other party to speak, and said first, "Now it's time for you to answer my question. Where did you meet the strong God-Eye clan?" "You haven't said yet your identity," Na Ilwan retorted. "My name is Jian Wushuang. I specialize in suppressing the God-Eyed emissary of the gods. If you don't believe me, there is nothing you can do." This time, Na Ilwan did not refute, but nodded and replied, "I believe it." He has no choice if he doesn't believe it now, because he thought about what Jian Wushuang said before, and he felt that it was really possible, and after Jian Wushuang suppressed him, he didn't kill him, And he didn't ask again something about the god eyes. For 10,000 years, he didn't know what Jian Wushuang was doing, so he couldn't help but transmit the sound to Jian Wushuang. Seeing that the other party was playing tricks, Jian Wushuang was no longer in a hurry and said slowly, "Your strength is good, you have the best fighting power, and you have completed the third turn of the Magic Eye secret technique. If you are not seriously injured, you have a good chance to become a strong man in the catastrophe of Your Excellency praised you. I know how much I have. Before the Great Destruction, I was the best. After recovering for such a long time, I have not improved at all. In addition to being injured this time, there is no hope." Na Yawan smiled wryly and shook his head. Indeed, his talent is mediocre. Combat power depends on the talent of the ethnic group and the mystic technique of the divine eye. Otherwise, it would be a Chinese cabbage if it was placed on the human race at most to the fourth-tier emperor, and if it was placed on the realm god continent. But Jian Wushuang gave the other party hope, saying, "If you are outside, you really have no hope, but with me, you still have hope. Not only can you recover from your injury, you also have the opportunity to take that important step again." "You must be kidding me," Na Yawan sneered. Seeing that the other party didn't believe it, he immediately changed the space from the first floor directly into the third floor. And it is in the original place of the third floor. The power and origin here are extremely strong, 1,000,000 times that of the outside world. It can be said to be the core of the entire universe. Na Yawan was first surprised by Jian Wushuang's strength, able to change space easily, and at the same time shocked that this treasure that was specially used to suppress their god-eyed clan could change at will. But when he felt the power of this place, the whole person suddenly became energetic. Jian Wushuang didn't hide anything, and revealed some specific functions of the 9-prison tower. This time, Na Yawan was silent. Chapter 64-27. He sat cross-legged deep in the source, without saying a word. Jian Wushuang knew what the other party was thinking, so there is no rush to coerce and lure. He didn't even bring up the topic just now. After an hour, Jian Wushuang took out the teapot, made tea and drank tea by himself, and finally had a free time, so he naturally wanted to use it. After Na Yawan opened his eyes, he turned his head to look at Jian Wushuang and said mockingly, "What's the point of just drinking tea? How about a drink?" Hearing the tone of the other party, Jian Wushuang knew that this guy was about to be put down. "Okay, I haven't had a drink for a long time, and I don't know if you have any good wine." Na Yawan teased. Jian Wushuang really didn't have any wine. He got this tea set from the monks he killed, but the drink was already lost. "I think it takes up some space." Immediately with a thought, I contacted the 4 former guardians of the double-faced Buddha. 2 jugs of fine wine are coming. Throwing a pot to Ilwan casually, the other party uncorked the bottle and smelled it, then smiled and said, "Let's drink tea." This is obviously a contempt for the wine Jian Wushuang gave him. Not to mention him, Jian Wushuang didn't like him either. "Remember what you drank back then? The value of a jug of wine is comparable to that of a universe. And even a universe can be used to make wine. Drinking this stuff now is simply embarrassing myself. It's okay to drink tea, anyway, the more vulgar this thing is, the easier it is to drink." While drinking tea, the two chatted. It's like an old friend for many years. This time neither of them had anything to hide. Jian Wushuang just didn't say anything about his identity outside, and his practice outside, and he didn't hide the rest. That Ilwan said a lot, but concealed the least. This guy can also talk. From the time I was born, I talked for a full 3 days and 3 nights. For the first 2 days, I was talking about myself, but on the last day I talked about the God-Eye clan. From the mouth of a top monk, Jian Wushuang seems to have seen the great civilization of the past. God-Eyes, all over the starry sky, time and space, and the continent of the gods. That Ilwan is a member of the Xinyan clan, in the branch of the Jieshan continent. He didn't live too long. Not long after he was born, he encountered a catastrophe event within 10,000 years of becoming Zhu Dian. This is also the source of the disaster of the God-Eye clan. the realm god continent was shattered. Almost all the Godai clan fell. Because most of the powerhouses of the Godai clan are in the realm god continent. So back then, the realm god continent was also the place where overdraft was the most serious. Even if it is not broken by the realm beast, it will be difficult to repair it later, and it will still be broken. After the shattering of the realm god continent, the living Godai tribe and the dead Godai monks were all suppressed to this world. Niawan didn't know what this place was called. He only knew that after he woke up accidentally, he wandered aimlessly, entered this universe, and traveled through tens of thousands of worlds. I don't know how many strong people I met. Nash Universe. The current universe is called the Nash Universe, and there is the existence of the Lord of the Universe. However, the Master of the Universe did not control this universe, but a universe-level secret realm. This is normal, and Jian Wushuang is not surprised. The Master of the Universe does not have to master the universe. The same is true for mastering the secret realm of the universe. Because the origin of the secret realm of the universe is the same as the origin of the universe, only the space range is different. After mastering the secret realm of the universe, you can store the origin of the universe at will. This is the key point. Ordinary masters of the universe cannot move or absorb the universe. It can only be done after becoming the seven tribulations realm. However, there are also some people who can do it ahead of time, such as those with strong inheritance. At the beginning, the top 10 powerhouses of Qi Temple could shrink the universe. It was because of the king of the realm. It is estimated that there is no such secret method in this world. It is estimated that only the Godai race can do it. After knowing the current universe, Jian Wushuang also has a general understanding of this world in his heart. First of all, the universe is spread all over, which is similar to space-time. But this world is completely isolated from the outside world, and it must be a time and space without a source. In other words, it is the time and space left after the death of a time and space god. Then this space-time gave birth to thousands of universes. The cosmic sea is formed by the shattering and reincarnation of the universe. On the other side of the cosmic sea is a source left after the fall of the space-time god. That is God. Think here. Jian Wushuang's eyes became slightly fascinated. The 8 achievements of God are the gods of the world of 10,000 willows. So the sacred tree of 10,000 willows is also in this world. And he is just at the source of time and space. And 10,000 willows are the gods of life. Although they are not as good as the world tree, the power of life contained in it extremely powerful, Weiss left it behind, and threw it at the source of the death of time and space, revived those god-eyed people. There are more than mistakes. The most important thing is to revive this time-space god, right? Jian Wushuang's heart secretly guessed. But this is still a little far away from him. Getting out of the ancient world is a trouble now. Niawan knows the history of the Xinyan tribe very well. Before the Great Destruction, it was only known that the holy land of the Godai clan was in the giant god sector in the starry sky. I don't know any more. The ethnic group on the Jieshan continent has many branches. There are 9 pinnacle bloodlines. The ancestors of these 9 peak bloodlines are all cosmic gods. Of course, he is still a superpower among the cosmic gods, and it is estimated that he must have a combat power of more than 7 stars. Because they have all practiced the secret method of the Divine Eye to the 8th rank. The Divine Eye mystic art is equivalent to the abbreviated version of Xian Yi Jing, and there is an extra feat of being able to burn, which is against the heavens. It is definitely a unique skill that can be passed down through the ages. Every time he thinks of this, he has to admire his ghost-eyed brother again. Back to the topic. In addition to the 9 peak bloodlines that Ilwan mentioned, there are many branches, all of which were developed by the god of the universe. That Ilwan was from a good background. He came from the Fei Mo bloodline among the 9 peak bloodlines. Fei Mo is the powerful cosmic who opened up this peak bloodline. Although it has fallen now, recovery is not impossible. According to his speculation, the universe under the sky cannot give birth to a cosmic god, nor can it bear a cosmic god. There is a high probability that the cosmic gods of the God Eye clan are all in the sky. He is not in a hurry anyway. When dealing with these guys, he has mastered the source. Are you still afraid of these people at that time? As long as he masters the origin, he will be promoted to Daojun in one step. Then start getting ready. The question of harmony is not difficult for him. The emperor level can be crossed. When he reaches the peak, he just needs to hold the ashes and keep devouring the universe. It has been devoured to the 9 tribulations realm. At that time, he will return to his peak again. And it will not be a problem to smash this world with one punch. He was very optimistic, but he wasn't too optimistic. No one knew what changes would happen in the future. In addition to the 9 peak bloodlines in the God Eye clan, there are also some cosmic gods in those branches who are not weak. Chapter 64-28. Then comes the Master of the Universe stage. There is a high probability that these guys are under the sky. Jian Wushuang has to be careful about this. That Ilwan also said a lot about the Master of the Universe in the clan. It's a pity he didn't meet any of them. The Masters of the Universe in the group, as well as the Emperors, all calculate their talents according to the power of the Mystic Eye technique. Jian Wushuang became interested in this. Tell me, in the Divine Eye clan, is there any Tianjiao who has cultivated the Divine Eye mystic technique to the 4th rank at the level of the Taoist Lord? After that Ilwan heard it, he immediately shook his head and said, how is it possible? The 4th turn is all the Emperor. Even if he cultivates to the 4th turn among the Emperors, he is also the arrogance of heaven among the Taoists, at most 3 turns. Are you so sure? Jian Wushuang pretended not to believe it. Although he is picking up the leaks, if he doesn't pick up the leaks, he can complete the 2nd round of practice in the Mahayana period. And even the 3rd round can be won by his own understanding. Besides, in the ancient world, there are many mortals, and one of them has been completely cultivated to perfection. He really didn't find it that difficult. That Yiluan's eyes lit up, and he said, don't tell me. I've heard that there is a Tianjiao in the clan of the God Eye tribe, who practiced the mystery of God's Eye in the mortal period to the 3rd turn, but there is no news after that. Already? Hehe. It's just that you haven't been to the Starry Sky Holy Land. Maybe there is a Taoist master who has practiced the secret art of the Divine Eye to the 5th rank. Jian Wushuang gave a slam, but he didn't want that Ilwan to be anxious and said, although you have the aura of the God Eye tribe, you don't know anything about the God Eye tribe, let alone the mystic art of the God Eye. Most of the monks you compared are human monks. They practice one of the first 5 turns. It looks really simple, but you see how difficult it is for them to merge? In the entire ancient world, only the Holy Master fused 2 to practice the 3rd sequential inheritance. This attracted the arrival of a place of inheritance from a certain Master of the Universe in our family, and he was able to accept the complete inheritance of the first 5 revolutions. But you found out that for so many years, that Holy Master has not completed the 3rd rank. Change. That's right, the first turn is the easiest, or counting separately, the first 5 turns, no matter which turn to practice, are very simple, but the difficulty has increased countless times. Jian Wushuang nodded in agreement. After all, you can't compare yourself with others. The key point is that what he said was only theory. After all, he had never practiced. But also to try. He can't open the 9 prison tower just by catching the monks of the God's Eye tribe, because I can't find it. As for catching the strong ones who have practiced the Mystic Eye technique, he is also stuck in the aspect of limited strength. Why don't you take the initiative to practice the 4th turn of the Mystic Eye technique? Maybe he can open the 4th layer by himself. Chatted with Na Ilwan for a long time. Apart from general information, there are currently 2 pieces of information that are useful to him. First, the news of the suspected God Eye clan. This is also related to Na Yiluan's injury. At the beginning, he heard that there was a holy place for the inheritance of divine eyes in a secret universe. Also heard that there is life inside. Thinking that there are strong people from the God Eye tribe haunting, they went to the secret place of the universe. However, before he entered the holy place, he was besieged by a group of mysterious strong men from the periphery, and he managed to escape. He didn't know what happened next. He traveled through thousands of worlds in one breath, and fled to the ancient world before stopping. Second, it's about spaceships. When he seized the double-faced Buddha back then, he threw a large number of his treasures into a dangerous place in the chaotic void. That dangerous place is very close to the ancient world. If Daojun hurried on his way, he could arrive in 100 years. However, that dangerous land is well known in dozens of big worlds around it, and it is easy for the emperor to fall if he enters it. Few Daojun dared to go in. So he threw the treasure at the core of that dangerous place, thinking about waiting for himself to stabilize and recover slowly before taking it away. These two pieces of information are indeed of great use to him, but each one is difficult. So I didn't rush to go directly, but asked some things about sacrifice. He is currently working on this. When Na Ilwan heard that he was studying the divine blood, he wanted to laugh at him for a while, but he didn't dare, and he couldn't control his mouth if he didn't laugh at him. Seeing this, Jian Wushuang raised his hand and said, "Just say it. You are delusional. Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang, who do you think you are? Do you even want the blood of the gods? Let me tell you, even the simple silver blood of the gods is the blood of the gods of the universe. Although it has been diluted many times, it is not you alone. By the way, what state are you in now?" Na Ilwan was taken aback. Previously, he just said that he was the chosen one, which didn't lie to the other party. That's why Na Ilwan felt that he was an arrogance of the God-eyed clan, who just accepted some kind of inheritance. I don't know how strong he was at his peak. No wonder they mocked him loudly. Jian Wushuang was not angry either and said calmly, "I am currently in the Mahayana period, the third round of mysticism. Tear." Na Yiluan's eyes widened. He took a breath and exclaimed, "You can't just be in the Mahayana stage? See if the other party doesn't believe it." Calm, Jian Wushuang directly shows the prototype. A one-eyed beast exuding an aura of destruction and evil. The rules are different from the whole world. The rules in the breath are also different. But in terms of origin, there is nothing at all. Not even the original breath. Not to mention strength. Without the origin, that is a Mahayana monk. That Ilwan first marveled at the horror of Jian Wushuang's prototype. Then his face changed and he said in shock, "You are really at the Mahayana stage, and you don't have a source? Then what happened to the previous source?" "Of course I lied to you, but I really have something to do with the God-Eye clan." Jian Wushuang twitched his brows. He didn't lie, he has a great relationship with the God-Eye clan. In terms of seniority, it is not too much for that Ilwan to call him uncle. Despicable. Na Ilwan couldn't help scolding after knowing that he had been cheated. But it's all said and done, and it's clear that some of Jian Wushuang's words are true, and he's not really angry. Now let's talk about the divine blood. And I've done almost all the research. I found that the life level of this silver divine blood is very low, only the universe level, and there should be stronger divine blood on it. Wushuang said calmly. That Ilwan nodded and said, "That's right, there are 9 layers of divine blood. Silver is the second grade, with 10,000 times the divine power at its peak, and the black divine blood that is inferior to it has only 5,000 times the divine power. There are even stronger ones. The golden blood of the gods is for the emperor, with 50,000 times the power of the gods, but these are leftovers from the cosmic gods, mainly to reward those servants who have taken refuge in the God-Eye clan." Speaking of this, that Ilwan raised his head proudly, showing the strength of the Shenyan tribe back then. "Then I probably understand." Jian Wushuang nodded. Na Ilwan was surprised. "What do you understand?" Chapter 6431. The woman in yellow just smiled slightly, raised her hand and said, "Senior, please come with me. Let's go up to Sequoia and talk about it." After speaking, he personally led the way to the top of the mountain, thinking over the cliff. This place was originally used by the strong who had reached the bottleneck, and came here to enlighten the Tao. But because of the war between the ancient court and the Holy Land, this place is not clean now. So naturally it is impossible to think about it. so it was converted into a tea house. The woman in yellow brought Jian Wushuang, and the three of them to a pavilion on the edge of the cliff, ordered the servant girl to bring a set of tea sets, and made tea for the three of them herself. Juniors, let me introduce myself first. Seniors can call me Huang Yuer. I come from the Moon Shadow Pavilion in Guting, and my father is the Lord Moon Shadow Pavilion. This time, because my father went to the ancient region of covering the sea, I will follow me to take care of some logistics. I came to the overlying sea ancient region a few years ago, and I was not in Shenshan at that time, so seniors have never seen me. Huang Yuer behaved respectfully and generously, and spoke with a natural arrogance. Jian Wushuang took a sip of tea, thinking about the information in the ancient world in my mind. Moon Shadow Emperor, the emperor who can be ranked in the top 10 in the ancient court. In the open Moon Shadow Pavilion, there have been 2 great emperors. No wonder this little girl faced us so calmly, so the background is so big. Jian Wushuang sighed with emotion from the bottom of his heart. He didn't talk nonsense with the other party, and directly asked about the battle 10,000 years ago. Huang Yuer clearly explained the battle 10,000 years ago one by one. The ultimate battle of 10,000 years is not actually the means left by Jian Wushuang and Yang Dingtian. Instead, there was a war of emperors in 10,000 years. An emperor in the Holy Land came to the double-faced god's mansion to compete for the treasure of chaos. Unexpectedly, Gu Ting ambushed 6 emperors in the double-faced Shenfu. Each of them is extremely powerful, and they are all top-tier emperors of the 3rd rank. Among them was Huang Yuer's father. The emperor of the Holy Land was attacked by surprise and was injured instantly. When he wanted to escape, he discovered that there was an ancient formation hidden in the double-faced palace. The 6 emperors of Guting launched a large formation and directly suppressed the emperor of the Holy Land. The Holy Land, which is already rare for emperors, suddenly lost its strength. As for Guting, they have been waiting and watching. I want to test the Holy Lord. In the end, I heard the news from nowhere that the Holy Master was trapped in a dangerous place, and he would not be able to get out for a while. After receiving this news, Guting immediately mobilized an army and crushed 17 ancient domains. 7 were won in one fell swoop. The remaining 10 ancient domains are still struggling. Among these 10 ancient domains, there is the overlying sea ancient domain. Hearing this, Jian Wushuang frowned slightly and said in surprise, "You said there are still people resisting in the ancient region of Fuhai?" "That's right." Huang Yuer smiled calmly and said, "Senior should also know that there were 2 major forces in this covering ancient region, and after the double-faced Buddha was killed by Yang Dingtian, Yang Dingtian was actually the only one left. The elders of the 6 great emperors overwhelmed the sea and the ancient domain, annihilating many powerhouses in one fell swoop. But they did not attack Yang Dingtian, but wanted to persuade him to join the ancient domain. Was severely injured in the end, and fled from the ancient sea-covering domain. In the last 1,000 years, he brought people into the sea-covering ancient domain, and was still planning to destroy the formation in the double-faced divine mansion. We are destroying Yang Dingtian, so the sea-covering ancient region is not peaceful." Jian Wushuang was quite shocked. Yang Dingtian was not a monk who only followed the path of divine eyes. How can you resist? He doesn't believe it. Yang Dingtian had no reason not to surrender. Or it is not called surrender, killing the double-faced Buddha, offending the Holy Land. Without the persuasion of the people from Guting, Yang Dingtian himself will take the initiative to join the side of Guting. Why would he want to resist and dare to attack the emperor? Isn't this courting death? He looked at Huang Yuer without showing any surprise. But I have another guess in my heart. By the way, you said there was a treasure of chaos, so who got it in the end? Jian Wushuang asked curiously. Huang Yuer said indignantly, "It was acquired by that villain Yang Dingtian. This guy sneaked up on the emperor and took away the treasure of chaos. Otherwise, this treasure would be in my father's pocket." "I see." Jian Wushuang sneered from the bottom of his heart. The treasure of chaos was originally obtained by Yang Dingtian. I'm afraid there must be some kind of enmity between them. It is very likely that the emperor of Guting attacked Yang Dingtian secretly to seize the treasure. but Yang Dingtian escaped in the end. But those of his followers may not have this opportunity to escape in front of the emperor. At least one must be at the level of the ultimate Taoist. Apart from Yang Dingtian, there is no such character in the overlying sea ancient territory. As for replying to Hai Gaia's troubles now, it is probably for revenge. According to what the other party said, Yang Dingtian should have absorbed the power of Jin Yanghua, and now he has become a heaven-defying Taoist with 10,000 times the divine power. Enough to compete against the third-tier emperor. It can be said that under the emperor, he is almost invincible. The war 10,000 years ago started with Yang Dingtian and the double-faced Buddha. The following things are very clear. There is one holy master in the Holy Land and 3 emperors. The Holy Lord is trapped. The 3 emperors can fight against the ancient court together, but one is suppressed, and the remaining 2 cannot guard the 36 ancient domains. 7 of them were chopped off, and 10 of them often fought, and were not stable. This is already the limit of the Holy Land. If it weren't for the fact that the 2 great emperors were extremely powerful, I'm afraid they would have been pushed to the Holy Land by now. Jian Wushuang was just curious about this. When he came out this time, he first found Jiang and I to see how he was doing. 10,000 years ago, he fixed his Dao Xian, and now he should become a Dao monarch. Thinking of this, Jian Wushuang asked, "By the way, has a female sword fairy risen in the past 10,000 years? The strength is probably among the true immortals or Taoist monarchs." Female sword immortal? Huang Yuer's eyes widened when she heard this question. Seeing that the other party was so surprised, Jian Wushuang quickly explained, "I started looking for it before I retreated. Her mother had an enmity with me. She didn't kill the grass and roots back then. This time I left the customs because of this." Huang Yuer was relieved after hearing the explanation. "I'm not sure about the person senior said, but it should be about the same. In the last 10,000 years, 7 female sword immortals have risen, and 4 of them are monks below the 7-step true immortal. Even if they are strong, there are 3 more 9-step true immortals. They are all disciples in my Gyuding Jianga. Their family backgrounds are clean, and they cannot be the enemy of the seniors. Only one of them is very similar to what the seniors said. Her identity is unknown. Everyone knows her name. No one even knows her name. The outside world calls her the quasi-immortal emperor. The appearance of a Taoist monarch can rival an emperor, stronger than Yang Dingtian." When Huang Yuer narrated, there was jealousy and resentment in her eyes. Because the senior brothers she likes are all obsessed with this woman. This is jealousy, and resentment is because this Yaxian Venerable has always been at odds with Gu Ting, and even shot at her father. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.